Those are his papers. Yes, that's Jake. He'll be here shortly. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone here. My name is Mayor Carolyn Lundberg, and we will begin this meeting tonight here, Monday, August 17th, in our Lindon City Council chambers. And we welcome everyone here in person as well as online. We always begin our session first with an invocation, which will be offered by Councilmember Van Broderick. Then we have the privilege of the Pledge of Allegiance being led by Richmond Wohan. Okay, we'll go to that point. Oh, we'll take a quick minute to allow Councilmember Hoyt to get up to his spot.
Everybody stare at him.
Walk of shame, walk of shame. Just kidding. No, he had his stuff here. He had to do a quick thing. All right.
Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the many blessings that Thou hast given us, grateful for this wonderful country that we live in this beautiful state. We're especially grateful to be residents here in the city of Lindon. We are grateful for all of our city staff and personnel, first responders that work so hard to serve the Lindon community. And we'd ask you that would bless and be with them. We pray for each resident of Lindon that would be with them and bless them and help them to be successful in their families. As we begin this city council meeting tonight, we'd invite Thy Spirit to be with us, that we can be thoughtful and thorough in our discussions and that we can have understanding and that the best decisions can be made. Again, we're grateful that we live in this great area and the boundaries of life that we enjoy, and say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, step forward.
Will everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Richmond. All right. We have at the entrance of the doorway, if you'd like to follow along, we have the agenda tonight. And we'll first begin with our call to order. So I'll start here on my right.
Lincoln Jacobs, present.
Jake Hoyt, present.
Carolyn Lundberg, present.
Van Broderick, present.
Cole Hooley, present.
And we're missing Councilmember Steve Stewart, who is out of town, but he will be back hopefully for our next meeting. We do have a quorum, so thank you all for being here. All right, we'll go on to item number 2. This is our presentations and announcements, and we have some pretty exciting things here. We're excited to acknowledge some pretty significant individuals. So first, we're going to begin with our employee recognition award. And Juan, are you going to be doing the honors, or Adam? Okay.
Adam will, but Kevin, come up front.
Come on up. Kevin Merritt.
Kevin Merritt works in our water division. Looks like he got a haircut just for this meeting here. So he cleaned up for us. And let me read a couple of the things. This is our employee nomination award, and these were comments that were submitted on Kevin's behalf from other coworkers. One of them says, "Here, we'll step over here, Kevin. We're in a weird spot." Kevin, let's see, always helps set the tone, keeps everyone around in good mood and motivated to get jobs done quickly and efficiently. Has also helped with my work mentality. Another comment, Kevin is an amazing employee. He always has a positive attitude around others with a smile on his face. He is quick to give compliments and make people feel good about themselves and their work. This is awesome, this next little story here. So the other day, Kevin noticed a kid walking his bike in town and stopped to help fix the chain on the bike that had fallen off so that the kid could keep riding with the friends. What a great way to help out our community and residents. Another comment, somebody else saw this incident when this child was walking past the pool. I saw Kevin stop to help a little kid whose bike chain had come off. He was just driving by and saw the kid struggling and stopped to help without seeking recognition or any other reason. That he's made a comment about him being an upstanding citizen. And so we're just really grateful for your good example and for your hard work on our water division. And as part of this, we have a $50 gift certificate for you. So thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Evan, we know you didn't change that bike chain for any recognition. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
We sure have the best employees in Lindon, just keeping the lights on, the water going, the sewers going. We really appreciate them. They're the hidden heroes.
Street
too often.
safe.
Yep, street safe. All right, and now I would like to have our so Jamie, would you like to come forward as well? I'd like to just quickly, Jamie Jensen is our Lindon Cares coordinator, and I know you don't like to be highlighted, but she's a rock star in every way, running so many amazing programs. And one of the things that we have, thanks to Jamie, through the Lindon Cares, and thank you to Cole, who is our liaison with this on the council, we like to highlight youth just a couple times a year. So guys, this is pretty special that you were nominated and brought in. So if Cole will join me and Jamie, and I'm gonna go ahead and just read these couple of highlights really quickly, and then I'll have Cole read one of them for us. All right, let's first have Aubrey come forward. Aubrey Wowan and Wes Carter. Come on up, you guys. We want to. All right.
It's Abby.
Oh, sorry. Aubrey's the mama. Sorry, Abby. Come on up, Abby. Would you go ahead and, Cole, I'll have you read Abby. So Abby was nominated, and this is what was said about her. So let's.
Okay, Abby is consistently friendly, good-natured, and humble. When there's an opportunity to help, she's always first to volunteer, and with a smile. Her genuine care is felt with whoever she interacts with, and her positive attitude is contagious. I'm nominating Abby because she is kind when no one is looking, and every time she has an opportunity to help someone with unique or special needs, she's overjoyed to assist them. Her enthusiasm and good energy is constant, and I know she'll change the world.
And Abby is going to be a senior at Timpanogos High, and she has a lot on her plate. She's a well-rounded athlete and musician and so many good things. So we're so excited to have you here and highlight you. Okay, and then my friend here, Wes, I was excited to nominate Wes. So he served on our Lindon City Youth Council, and he is an incredible natural leader. He brings an unmatched energy and positivity to everything he does. He was a great contributor to all the activities, all the service projects, and he always made it fun for the group, especially younger kids, and mentoring and encouraging them. And he led, one of the things I was really proud of him is we were one of only 6 youth councils out of over 500 kids come up to the Capitol every year. And we were one of only 6 councils that was chosen to do some mock debates based on some policy legislation that we presented. And some of those policies actually went on to be topics within the legislature. And so Wes and one of our other youth council, they had to go do a mock debate, and they actually won their debate. That's how persuasive he is. So I don't know, what is your future? Lawyer, speaker, motivational, something, right? So they were one of only 3 that won that debate that year. So that was pretty outstanding. And he's also an excellent student and musician. So you imagine he plays 3 instruments. You play piano and as well. And he was the Timpanogos marching band leader. That was a really amazing goal that it's a coveted leadership role, obviously. Took a lot of hard work. He also works, do you still work at Pizza Pie Cafe?
Yeah.
Okay. He was promoted to become a manager at age 17. Wow. Okay. So again, he's someone who demonstrates maturity, trustworthiness, dedication. He's the oldest of 4 kids. He loves his family and his pets. And you ever want to hear about a spiritual experience that involves pets? He gives great talks in church about that too. It's pretty fun. So he's graduated now, and he's entering BYU this fall. So we're so excited for him. We're just really proud of him, how outstanding he is, and his vibrant character. So let's give him a round of applause. For you guys here, so we'll just go ahead and present these, and if we can get a picture with you, could we have our council come here, you guys? stand here, one for each of you. And we'll have you stand here. This is our designated little spot, so if you want to scoot down a little bit, see where these guys are. Thank you. Jamie, would you be so kind as to grab a picture? Oh, my phone's full.
I will send it to you. I'll send it to you. That's a big deal.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right, moms and dads, we hope, and grandmas and grandpas, you have such outstanding youth, and we're so thrilled to be able to highlight them. They're future leaders of America right here. All right, and siblings, let's have the siblings stand up. These fine kids. Way to go, way to go. Okay, well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. We are going to move on to more business, but we also are fine to excuse you at this point if you have other places you have to be.
Can stay if you want, because it's exciting.
Zone changes. Okay, have a great night. All right, moving on to item number 3. This is open session for public comment. Anything that's not listed on the agenda, we would welcome anyone coming forward. Seeing none, we'll move on to our item number 4, our council reports. And whoever would like to tag and take this first.
I'm happy
On the
to
end.
kick things off. Kudos, you can never say kudos enough to Parks and Rec after a Lindon Days successful event. I don't know how they do all of it. It seems like all of them are there for every single event. I show up to as many as I can, which is not nearly as many as they actually hold. Just so impressed always. Hear comments from our residents again and again about how much they appreciate the work that they do and the events that are held. Just can't say enough to our Parks and Recs and express enough gratitude to them. Heath gave me an update. Flag football, 200 participants, and fall soccer, 434 participants, all start this week. Street hockey is a new sport for our offering. Registration is open now. This fall, we are offering 12 recreation classes and programs. There will be great back-to-school programs and fun available for everyone. Kudos to our Parks and Recs department this summer. They have been very water-wise and quick to repair issues and been able to keep most locations watering only 2 times a week. So it's good. I mean, that's what we should all be aiming for. And
actually, the parks are looking good.
yeah,
They're not as
I
distressed
was
as
going
you
to say,
would think.
it doesn't look, yeah, great job there. Well done, Wade, Kenny, and the rest of the seasonal staff. The next special event from Parks and Recs is coming up on September 12th, Saturday, September 12th, a picnic in the park featuring Bluegrass Thunder Band and free dessert. Bring your picnic basket and enjoy a wonderful evening at the City Center. This week I was able to join the Public Works, I don't know what that's called, coordination meeting, status meeting, what do you call it?
Engineering meeting.
Engineering meeting. That was a treat. Thank you for letting me participate in that.
Thank you for substituting for me.
Anytime,
town.
anytime. We'll be going over a lot of that tonight, but it was great to be able to have that sneak peek of some of the issues we're discussing tonight and just see everything. I love to see the logistics of how things work, so really enjoyed that. North Point Solid Waste, we have Neil here tonight discussing a zoning change. I don't think I really have anything more from them to report. We also have a couple issues, Planning Commission issues on our agenda tonight. I think that covers everything that I've got.
Okay, a few updates from the PD, a lot of effort from them with Lindon Days, some of the normal activity we see. They are upping their emphasis on speeding in our school zones this next couple of weeks with school starting, and then prepping our block captains for our 9/11 drill, which is coming up shortly. So appreciate PD. Van and I are participating in the Chamber Pickleball Tournament this Friday. We'll try to do you proud.
Maybe you don't mention anything till we come back.
No, I say it now because I don't want to report on where we end up. No,
Fair
I'm just
enough.
kidding. We always have fun. And in fact, in the last tournament we did down there in Lindon, what's his name? Owns all our commercial property down there.
Weldon.
The Weldon tournament, we finished third place, and so we were very proud of that. Linden Days was phenomenal. Really a great week. Appreciate Parks and Rec. A few new. There's always some new and good. And my 14-year-old son and I took a deep run into the cornhole tournament playoffs. I think we won one game past the round robin tournament, so it was fun. Fun new event. Great turnout. Had some questions on Creekside Park. I don't see Heath here, and so I'll just get with him. Had some concerned residents about the changes that have gone there, but I can get with him.
Juan should be able to answer
Juan.
any questions you have on that.
Creekside Park?
Yeah.
I also received some as well, so this will.
Yeah, so at Creekside Park, as you know, we widened the channel and made some trails. I got an email from a person that says he wasn't very pleased of how it looks at the current state. So the next step is we brought so much soil that had quite a few weeds. So what we're gonna do is keep spraying this year, keep killing all those weeds, and then we're gonna apply pre-emergent granules. And then in the spring, we'll start doing all the plugs and all the grasses and flowers. As far as the water goes, a lot of the water is being diverted right now by a couple of the larger users that are still there. Cook Farms and Anderson Farms still take their water to irrigate, so the water flow this summer has been zero. So it's the only water we get is through the big storms, and you can see sometimes when we get a big storm, that thing floods all the way to almost to the bottom of the bridges.
Yeah. Okay.
But I responded to that resident and tell we'll just keep
Still a work in progress.
still work in progress.
Perfect.
I
That's
just-
perfect.
I
And
just didn't want to put all the plants and then have all the weeds growing and trying to.
Yeah.
So I just said let's just keep.
makes all the sense in the world. Thanks, Juan.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
All right.
All right, thank you. Our Public Works Department is always busy. The State Street water leak patches, Juan has reported, should be fixed by Wednesday. So I know we've got some traffic calming cones and things set up there, but hopefully that occurs on Wednesday. On Linden Days, I've already had multiple people reach out to me on the car show, love the location back to where it's at and the date. Just, they tried to give me all the credit, which I could take none, but they were thrilled that that's where it is. And
Although some felt like they wanted it to be back on, I heard some say they prefer Monday than Saturday. And I saw there was competing events, that was when the duck derby and the dime dive and everything at the pool was going on.
there will be no perfect date for
Yeah.
sure, but there were some positive feedbacks on those two items. And then, yes, the engineering meeting, special thank you to Juan, Noah, Trent, that accommodated my schedule so I could have my own personal meeting. And so that was very helpful. And as was mentioned, two of the items discussed in great detail at those meetings are on the agenda tonight. And that's it.
Awesome. Arts Committee, it's still in a building phase. We're having some residents spontaneously reach out and express interest, which has been great. So we're still just looking to see about viability and how to move forward. The tree board welcomed a new member and have another potential member at bat as well. So they're expanding, which is great, and moving forward with a grant application, and they're planning for the upcoming fall. They've identified several places to plant trees because the fall is a better time to plant them. Historical Commission also doing a great job. I don't know we didn't get to see them because we were in the parade, but they gave out these really cool historic coloring pages as their handout, and folks can finish them and take them into the community center and exchange them for a pin. They have several, I think 7 different cool Lindon pins in exchange for the coloring page. So that was really neat. The CTC, they're on our agenda tonight, having received another round of grant funding, and this was particularly challenging. Lots of cuts to this funding mechanism, but they've done such a good job of managing these funds and doing really worthwhile programming that they were able to still get some. Really glad that we have them in our city infrastructure. Been a lot of positive feedback from those who've been participating in the different events. And I think they're probably the newest offering probably that we have in this city as far as like a structure within the city. And they have been feeling those growing pains trying to find how and where they fit in with the other departments, and so grateful that they're here and continuing to promote wellness in our community and reduce a lot of the problems. So I'll say a little bit more when we get to item 7, but really glad Jamie's here and be able to speak to the good work she's doing.
All right, thank you all. Really quickly, Lindon Days, our Huck Finn event, coincided with the Stake Center right there where a lot of people parked for Huck Finn, happened to be having a 700 attendee area meeting.
Oh, wow.
And so unfortunately, people had to park a half mile away, as far as a half mile away, because many Huck Finn people had parked there. So the stake president this Sunday, he said, Mayor, we're happy that the city people can use our parking lots. And I said, I'm so sorry. That was just like a convergence of two things. So maybe in the future, we should just double check calendar. And I know the city isn't officially telling people to park there, but it's just, it happens. So anyway, the chance of that happening on the same night again is slim to none, but it was unique scenario. So parking was a little crazy. And then I have here for you all, Mazer has their new ribbon cutting. They're doing a huge new arts wing and auditorium. You're all invited to that. I'm going to pass this around if you want to get it on your calendar. They're excited about that, would love any support from us. And I'll give that to you, Michael, at the end. And then we met prior to council meeting. We're going to be standing up an audit committee here. And so Jake and I met with some of the staff, and mainly the purposes of that is to create a charter that will be brought to the council for future approval. And it's just one of those recommended activities and oversight internal groups as recommended by, auditing best practices and whatnot. So we'll be sharing that with you at a future meeting. And then finally, this week I had, as you all know, we had the approval for the additional significant funding for our 400 West State Street light connection there through the Thornton property. So cause for celebration. Because those are, it's a big, very competitive with all the other cities and all the other projects on those lists. And we qualified, and the team, we were able to really run that up the flagpole and have success. So it was approved by the executive board. So we can get that project started. And then I also had the honor to meet with the UDOT Commission for the state transportation. Oops, pardon me, a little extra there. And I went with them on a bus tour all day Thursday as they were reviewing projects within the Region 3, pretty much all of our county. And what I was able to speak to them about was the need for the Lindon Freeway additional slip ramp exit entrance system. And this is a folder that UDOT prepared of all the places that we went and traveled and saw there that are projects that are were highlighted by the Region 3. So we've been staff and I have been closely coordinating with Region 3 directors to get this in front of the transportation body board. And so it went very, very well. We were able to, on the second page shows our project, which has a lot of the preliminary, it's in phase 1, which is a big deal to get up the rankings, first of all, and the right points and assessments, and then also has some of the preliminary engineering and environmental studies done, so now it just needs the money. So the money's the final clincher. So just getting it in front of that body was a big deal, and me being able to be invited to speak to them. Staff helped put together an additional sheet that I provided all of the commissioners. It gave a lot of explanation of the housing doors coming, the two significant commercial centers between Pleasant Grove and Lindon that are going to be here. And they really liked that. They said that was really helpful as we drove by and able to point out the different things that are coming. So
That's awesome.
so that'll hopefully get some attention. We need to get that run up the flagpole with our legislators. We have our legislator Schallenberger. Also, every time I see him, we chat about it. He's like, I'm telling everybody, So that's just part of the process. You have to be a squeaky wheel to get some of these competitive funding things. So
Good job. Thank
that
you.
was a fun thing to get to do. And yeah, Lindon Days was phenomenal. As always, I wish we could have more of our Parks and Rec people here. They really bend over backwards for that to just be so outstanding. There was a lot of fun, new things and traditions as always, and it really means a lot to everyone in the community. And so kudos to them. All right, moving on, we'll go on to our administrator's report, which is item number 5.
Just an FYI, our next meeting, city council meeting is September 8th. It's a Tuesday. Monday is Labor Day, so we'll be meeting Tuesday at our regular 5:15 time, so.
Do we have the combined, is that the TSD
We
combined?
do, actually, thanks for bringing that up.
That's at
It is at
4 p.m.?
4 o'clock that same day
Okay.
with Tippinoga School District to have another combined meeting with them. So, thank you, Cole.
4:30?
4 o'clock
On the 8th.
on September 8th. Here in this room, so. And then, just an FYI, Chief Brower and I have been working with Orem and Provo City on some changes that are coming up with our dispatch services. Currently, we contract with Orem, who contracts with Provo and Provo's dispatch center is called Metro, and due to a lot of issues, Metro has given Orem an increase in costs, and so we gave our notice to Metro that we are going to Central, which is near the sheriff's office, and Central 911 is a very large dispatch provider, provides dispatch services for a couple different counties and probably 14, 15 different other cities and agencies. So we're working through a lot of things to try to get that transferred over. And Provo may be assessing some additional fees or costs in addition to what they've already sent to try to retain some of their dispatchers who now know our agencies are leaving. And so they're struggling to retain dispatchers. And so just an FYI, we're working through some of those issues, and that's a challenging topic.
They expressed
So-
how challenging it was to kind of wind down, anticipating losing not only employees, but having to cover that. And yeah, there's just different logistic. They wanted to bump us off a lot sooner than is really feasible. So we hopefully can work something out.
Yeah, so just a FYI, and we will talk more about that in coming months, so. That is all I have, Mayor. Thanks.
Very good. All right, we're going to move on to item number 6. This is the approval of the minutes from June 15th, 2026 joint meeting with Orem City Council and the July 6th, 2026 meeting.
I would just throw out here, there's, in that joint meeting with Orem, if you go back and have read the minutes, there's a lot of information about what Adam has just been talking about, and I know Adam's been leading that, so a special appreciation to that. And then also, Reed Price has articulated pretty well the reasons for our sewer discussion that's coming up as well. So I just remind you of that, and maybe that can be a resource to you. but I have no changes to it.
I'm happy to make a motion if nobody has any changes. Make a motion that we approve the minutes from June 15th, the joint meeting with Orem City, as well as our July 6th city council meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Jacobs, seconded by Councilmember Broderick. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved. Now we're going on to the consent agenda. We'll go ahead and have our city administrator present each of these, and then we can approve them all in one motion. These do not require any public comment or discussion, so kind of some,
Yeah, we have a lot of
Keeping
items on our agenda tonight, and so trying to speed some things up here. These are more almost administrative in nature. and-
House.
Yeah, so we have an interlocal agreement with Utah County with funding for fiscal year 27-28 on the CTC program related specifically to the substance misuse prevention. And Jamie's here if you have questions on that, but something that's been ongoing, and we appreciate her efforts to secure some of that. It's federal money that's transferred down through the county and filtered down to us, and so. And then the next item, an agreement again with Utah County for additional funding for various CTC programs. We've got a surplus equipment disposal on their resolution. And then this final item, the Timco street sweeper purchase, this was approved in our budget this year. Public Works actually demoed several different pieces of equipment, and our current sweeper is a Timco, and I believe it was purchased in 2013. Does that sound right? And it's time for a replacement on that current piece of equipment. So Timco actually will be assisting and financing this purchase for us. What we budgeted for this year in the budget is the full purchase dollar amount. We have to account that we're assuming that liability. But what we're actually dispersing in actual funds is $75,000 down on that, and then we'll make payments until we pay off. The total with interest is $450,701. So there's a resolution there for that Timco street sweeper purchase. Any questions on any of those items?
And let's wear it out.
Yep.
I have had, thank you so much for keeping the street, we're getting so much great feedback on how the roads are being treated, and I have had some residents say, could we clean the streets more than twice a year? And I don't know what that looks like with availability of staff time.
We'll put it on our best effort to get that sweeper moving as much as we can. And one of the ideas was to, when we hire our seasonal for streets, is to hire somebody with a previous experience, maybe a retired driver that he can just go do it 3 days a week or so.
Well, that would be fantastic.
But we're thinking about the best way to do more sweeping.
Okay. Yeah, like Dan said, you wear it out. Love it. Okay, thank you. All right, council, any other questions on these items?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just had a comment / question. So the CTC, it's been so awesome to be in their group and watching them work and going to their various activities. Right now it's under Parks and Rec. Is that right, Adam? It's like organizationally, that's the. I know some of the work that they do could cross some lines with maybe even policing, with the broad community prevention with suicide and drug prevention and stuff like that. I'm so grateful that they got more funding. I know this is a unique program in that the funds make it possible to have here in the city. And I've just observed a couple instances in which there's been some confusion, institutional confusion about that organization. Being like needing to pay, for example, to be in the Lindon Days magazine. And I just was like, well, that seems like an outside entity would need to pay to have space in the magazine. So I didn't know if there was an accounting reason, to have money go from one to the other, because I know that can be, there's just little, like, I'm not going to bore everyone with a lot of, but there's just a couple institutional places where maybe department heads could get together and just iron out some of those institutional tension points, given that we have more funding and want to see it through really well to the next year. And I can give more information afterwards, so I didn't want to take up a lot of time, but it just seemed like an opportunity to speak to it now since we're celebrating their renewal of the funding. So love what they're doing, would love them to be able to keep doing it and reduce any of these little speed bumps that they're experiencing and executing their mission.
Yeah.
But
Can I give you a call and we'll
Yes.
talk about some of those?
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. That'd be
Thank
great.
you.
All right, thank you for those comments. All right, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hoyt, seconded by Councilmember Broderick. All in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. All right, item number 8. Now we move on to a review and action on a zone amendment ordinance change. So we'll go ahead and allow,
But I think Neil wanted to wait for the whole thing, so I think he wanted it to go down.
put it last. Okay. Got to give him a hard time.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So North Point Solid Waste District has made an application to rezone the property highlighted here with the star and the outline in red. The current zoning on the property has 3 different zonings. It has a regional commercial zone, which is purple. The gray is light industrial, and it doesn't show up on this map, but there's some hashed area all over that gray that is our light industrial west zone. And so the proposal is to amend the zoning from those 3 to general commercial. General commercial is similar to like our State Street zoning. Our general plan that was adopted a few years ago recommended that this area be rezoned to general commercial. So this is following that recommendation. And the purpose, and Neil can talk about this more when he comes up, or if you have any questions for him, but the purpose is that North Point is looking to sell this property in order to help fund the improvements that they will be doing over at the transfer station. We feel like this is a good zone to change it to. There's a number of improvements that will be coming to the area. One that the mayor already talked about, the improvements to the partial interchange for Lindon and the frontage road. This puts that property right next to that. And then to the south of the property, you have the Vineyard Connector. So you'll have an interchange, you'll have a 7-lane freeway going through there. So this makes it a very, appealable area in the future for commercial development. It's approximately 40 acres. That's without taking any property out yet for Vineyard Connector or that connection between the interchange, the future interchange. So we feel like this is, 1, complying with our general plan, and 2, a really good plan for the future commercial area. So with that, do you have any questions for me?
Neil to come forward and state your name for the record briefly, even though we know who you are.
Neil Schwendeman, District Manager for North Point Solid Waste. Thank you. So,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, our main purpose right now in the property that we're selling is we're working with UDOT so they can have that vineyard preservation area. And we want to work with them because part of our property on the south end we use as our large trucks entering and exiting the facility, and that goes across some of the UDOT property. So we definitely want to stay on good terms. It works for both UDOT, the city, and North Point, and that's kind of why we're moving in that direction right now.
And one of the reasons why, myself and staff have really wanted to get this zone change as well and coordinate, it's something the property owners would like to do. But this is valuable property commercially, retail sales tax, potential future base. versus right now would be warehouse industrial type of uses potentially. So it's kind of a better and higher use. I think Mike very eloquently showed, with the nexus point of major transportation corridors. So, and I think it's a win-win for you guys as well to hopefully get a really good value from that land. And we appreciate your coordination with UDOT, and because the last thing we want is buildings to go up and then it costs the taxpayers a fortune to go take things down to put
Right.
in those.
And part of that too is, we've always kind of held on to that property and, just as a last resort if need be, but we found a solution to improve the transfer station on the current property. And so we're currently in the design phases of that. We're working through actually phase one, which will be redoing the old entrance to make that a commercial-only entrance on the weekdays with multiple incoming lanes, all automated. So there's not even a scale attendant there. Really quick and fast. It's modeled after the other waste districts around us that are using similar software. So it should help both the commercial customers and the residents coming in and out of the facility.
Fantastic. All the new technology and be great.
I was trying to figure out, I know, because there's multiple parcels, I don't know if that's the right word, involved. One has like the light industrial, some had regional commercial. I guess what I didn't know, I get an understanding of switching it from industrial to commercial, what sort of uses get opened up there, but I didn't know what switching from a regional commercial to a general commercial practically means.
Regional commercial can be more warehouse distribution.
Regional's more warehousey.
So
Okay.
so you can kind of see the warehouses to the west of there with doTERRA and what Mark Weldon has built. So office use, warehouse use, that's kind of what it was oriented towards.
Gotcha. So now general commercial has a more narrow list of.
More of a retail and office and service type uses.
Gotcha.
State Street is all general
Right.
Yep.
Is there, I think this is a wonderful idea, 100% supportive, excited for you all, and I think this is great. Are there other properties we should look at? And maybe I just charge staff with looking into those, because I think we are underestimating the value of that corridor and what will happen there. This is great forward thinking. Let's change that. Are there other properties out there, I guess, and charge you with looking at those and working with property owners, and let's see what we can do, because I do think that has potential to really be a commercial corridor where we've kind of not thought that in the past, or not looked at it that way. We've kind of looked at it as kind of an industrial adjacent, but with that vineyard connector, I see commercial potential. So
Yeah, I
Very
did reach
supportive.
out to Rich Doxey with doTERRA about this triangle piece to the north, right next to doTERRA. He said he wanted to watch this process play out first, and then we would talk and see if
Cool.
that's something that doTERRA was interested in.
All right.
Jake.
Okay. Great questions.
you abstain.
Anything else?
Are you abstaining
We have a,
as a board member? Probably not, right? No.
I don't think we have any pinch points on this at this point, so thank you to Mike for organizing and teeing this up and coordinating. Thank you for your partnership and coordinating with the city and on all this and all your good work as well with your board. And Lincoln, I know you sit on the board there, so any thoughts from you here?
No, everyone's excited about this, the new construction that's going on there. Everybody is in favor of having this rezoned. It was discussed in a couple of our board meetings, so there was a thumbs up down there.
Okay, fantastic. I entertain a motion then if we're ready.
I'm happy to make that motion. I move to approve ordinance 2026-14-0 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Jacobs, seconded by Councilmember Hoyt. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thanks for the partnership.
Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
Enjoy the rest of
Sorry you
your
have to
meeting.
deal with Lincoln. That's tough. Tough stuff.
all right, we're now moving on to item number 9, which is a new agreement, well, not a new agreement, but it's to ratify the agreement with MS Properties here. I think we're all a little bit familiar with it, but we'll have Michael go ahead and review it one more time.
Yeah, I thought Martin would be here tonight, but I think he's given us his blessing because he signed everything already.
I chatted with him too. I thought he would be here, but I will recuse myself for the next 2 items.
So for this settlement agreement, if you remember, there was a dispute that had arisen between the city and Martin about the ownership of Anderson Lane. He had thought he owned part of it. We disagreed with that, so we came up with this settlement agreement. Basically, what it said is that the city, for its part, will amend the development agreement that was in place for this section of the road over here. That was approved by the city council and removed from our transportation master plan map. And so that was the city's part in this. And then Martin, for his part, he was going to transfer title, any title to Anderson Lane, which he has signed it. And we have that ready for the mayor's signature tonight. He's also provided a stormwater pipeline easement and a utility easement to go through his property in these areas here, so we have access to our utilities in the future, and for maintenance, future maintenance of those. And so with that, he will also be taking that bond money that he has been held up for a number of years with this development agreement and installing some infrastructure, curb and gutter improvements along Anderson Lane. And so this settlement agreement lays out each party's requirements. Again, Martin, he's already signed the settlement agreement, the development agreement, the deeds for the Anderson Lane, and the 2 utility agreements, or easements, I should say. And Brittany has those for the mayor's signature tonight. So I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you to all of you, staff who really brought a common sense kind of resolution to this, and yeah, it looks
Good for
great.
everybody.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, council, this is an action item.
I will make a motion for item number 9. I move to approve the settlement agreement with MS Properties LLC as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Broderick, seconded by Councilmember Jacobs. Any further discussion on the motion on the table?
Yeah, just one quick comment. I did vote no to have the road removed from the master plan, but given that it is gone, I think this resolution makes a lot of sense. But still have my feelings about the removal. So, but I'm not going to hold it up because of that, because
Okay.
that's a done
Well
deal. So,
noted.
yeah.
Thank you,
Felt like
Councilman
saying that out
Hooley.
loud.
Okay, any other? Okay, we'll move forward on the motion and call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item number 10 now is the termination of that development, that original development agreement, which is now a moot point, so to speak. So I'll let Mr. Florence present.
The original development agreement was adopted in 2008 and recorded with the county. And then at this point, nothing's been implemented because, Martin hasn't done any future development. So what you have before you is to amend and terminate that 2008 development agreement.
Again, our the attorney has reviewed this. Everything should be well in order.
Yeah.
Mr. Snow, his attorneys, they've all reviewed. Everything's pretty much good to go, just pending your action on this here tonight.
So we've prepared an ordinance for your adoption and then an updated, that new development agreement, or
Any-
amended development agreement.
No other comments or questions, I'll make a motion. I move to approve ordinance 2026-13-0 as presented.
Second.
By Councilman Broderick, seconded by Councilmember Jacobs. Any further questions or amendments to the motion? All right, seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you so much. Okay, great resolution. Let's go ahead now to item number 11. And this is we'll go ahead and invite Councilman Hoyt back if he can hear us, I believe. Yeah, this is sewer treatment, so there shouldn't be any recusal need at this point.
We could invite,
Invite Councilman Hoyt back.
maybe
Jake,
he's in the restroom, I don't know.
He may have got out, he may have got out the front door
He's
first.
gone home. No. We went through that quicker than maybe he thought we would go.
Yeah. If we
Okay,
could
well,
invite our city engineer, Noah Gordon, and Kristen, our finance director.
Very
And
good.
we'll invite Juan Garrido, our public works director, if they'll, and I'm gonna give you the mouse on this, so.
While we're doing that, I'll
It is right in line.
make a
with
motion to open a
everything.
public hearing.
yes, thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Broderick, seconded by Councilman
Weird.
Hooley, and we've got
Can I close it?
Councilman Hoyt back
Let's see if it
at the
works.
at the dais, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're just letting staff get things teed up for technical. I did want to give a quick shout out. I forgot to mention during announcements. This past week, you all probably heard about the big fire outside of Fillmore that was so devastating. And the town of Meadow. So Adam contacted me while I was in Idaho and said, you know, that town, they're trying to get sandbags down in Meadow to anticipate what happened similarly, unfortunately, to Beaver. They had the massive flooding that then destroyed more properties in town. And Adam had a brilliant idea. He took the day off, and with permission from me and working with you, Juan, I'm sure, took, what was it, Adam, 2 pallets down to Mayor Bishop in Meadow?
We had about 3 pallets. We had 2 that were
Two
stacked.
pallets, and then we, because we
Shoved
couldn't
stuff
fit
all
3,
over on the sides of the truck.
Just crammed it all in.
we emptied 1 pallet and kind of made a little
And it was
pyramid.
posted on the city socials, if you saw it. It
Saw
was
that.
just a really
So
wonderful
awesome.
neighborly.
It was a nice thing. They were really appreciative.
Yeah.
But he didn't take the day off. He worked till 3, and then he took off at 3.
I called my brother. My grandparents actually used to live in Meadow, and so I appreciated that we could go do that. And that's been 25 years ago since they were there, but they're buried there in the Meadow Cemetery, and the fire came within about 100 feet.
Oh,
of the cemetery.
jeez.
It would have been really sad if that burned. And
Took
so,
that out.
But the mayor of Meadow was there, and they had all their council members, and probably had 200 people there filling sandbags, and the city is only the town. It's like 320 people, so there was a lot of people there for the size of Meadow. But that same night, Kanosh and Fillmore were also doing sandbagging events, and so it was nice that we could be there.
Really good. Sister city, city to city,
Thank you for
reaching out. So anyway, we love those happy stories, and hopefully they've been able to protect everything well, hopefully.
So far.
So far,
and, you know,
Cross our fingers.
They were all pretty scared after what happened in Beaver. And
Right.
still scared, honestly, and, but they don't have a specific river channel like Beaver did. And so they're hoping that out of all of their different canyons, it will spread out a little bit more. But they're in a pickle, honestly. And it's, the next time you go to St. George, you'll see this. Imagine from almost Cove Fort, so you start going up that hill to go over that pass, and so you're halfway up that pass. From there, all the way up to Scipio, pretty much, within the last 3 years, has been burned. And so the entire face of their mountains that you see in their
vulnerable,
city
yeah.
is all burned. And so it's amazing.
We desperately want the rain, but a nice, slow, gentle rain,
Yeah.
not a
Have
gully
always a
washer.
monsoon.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Okay, let's move on to item number 11. We are already open in a public hearing for the fee schedule amendments to our sewer treatment plant fees.
So if I could just jump in really quick, Kristen, maybe if you could just run us through, this is the proposed changes on the fee schedule, and then we'll have Noah jump into why.
Okay. This is the proposed fee schedule changes.
Exhibit A.
So we're proposing adding a new line to the utility fee, to the utility bills for the sewer treatment facility fee. And it would be based on the meter size up to 2 inches. So anything 2 inches or more would have the same rate. And then changing the sewer utility fee, the base fee, to reflect the size of the water meter. Take it away, Noah.
More time? So I'll go into kind of the background of this. This is the third time I've given this. I've given once to Van and then once to Lincoln. So really I'm gonna be focusing on the mayor, Jake,
I
and
read through
Cole
it all,
tonight.
so I'm familiar with it.
But I'm gonna lean on Van and Lincoln to answer all the questions.
Oh,
So
I
any
see.
questions that you have.
How good of a
since they-
teacher you are. Let's do it.
So we'll just jump into this a little bit. Jump out of here. Okay. This is just a little background. I believe that Adam has brought this before the council on a couple of
Multiple
different
occasions,
times.
yeah.
So this is just, he wanted me to just give a very brief kind of review of why we are where we are. There was this June 15th joint City of Orem and Lindon City Council meeting that we had over in the Orem Council Chambers to discuss this. This was one of the items in that meeting. And so briefly, Orem City completed a capital facilities plan for the Orem Water Reclamation Facility or the sewer treatment plant. They finalized that in December of 2022 and then incorporated that into their sewer master plan last year in 2025. It's a 20-year plan which consists of 4 different phases, totaling up estimated to be $160 million. Those are 2022 dollars, and we'll see that those prices have gone up, no surprise, since that time. So this shows you from what we got from, this is all from Reed Price, this portion, that in 2022 dollars, they anticipated phase 1 to be $58 million. That has now grown to 88, almost $89 million. But as Juan has pointed out, they have incorporated some additional items, I think, in that total from phase 2 that made sense to do with phase 1. So it's not a
Complete inflationary bump.
it's not all just inflationary.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they, as you can see on there, don't really have an estimate in 2026 dollars for phases 2 through 4. So I just want to reemphasize, this is just for phase 1, and here's all the different line items of what that includes. You can see down at the bottom that $88 million, almost 89, did not include engineering fees of almost $6.5 to $7 million. So the total for phase 1 is estimated to be almost $95.5 million. And you can see the different items on there. And if we wanted to, you could have someone from Orem, Reed, could come and kind of give you more of a, here's all what you're getting for that $95 million. So of that $95 million, Lindon has a contractual obligation to pay based on what we anticipate to be our sewer flows through the plant of 12.24%. So of that 95 million, almost 7 million is Lindon's responsibility. Stop me at any time if you've got questions. If not, I'm just gonna motor through.
Does Vineyard use 2 facilities?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
want to make sure I remembered that correctly.
Most of it goes to, as you can see, most of it goes to TSSD. So we discussed several different funding options. For Lindon, But the one that seems to make the most sense would be Orem Banked had been building up kind of a reserve over several years. They have obviously many more residents, so a little bit in increasing fees adds a lot more than it does to Lindon with our smaller population. So they have some money banked up. I think it's around $25 million, if I remember right. And they are also going to need to bond for the remainder. They have agreed to let Lindon essentially do what we've got boxed there and have Lindon pay a portion of the Orem bond as well as pay the Bank of Orem for some of their savings used. The other option would be that Lindon pays for this essentially up front or as it goes, which would be a lot bigger. And Jake could speak to this from the banking side of things, but it would be a lot more money up front. So
Really a nice thing Orem's doing there. That should be noted.
So, I'm gonna bring this up just so it's on the record too. So they had mentioned in prior meetings that.
Can we have you get on a microphone? It's a little hard to hear you.
Thanks. Orem had mentioned in prior meetings that the interest that they would charge us would be the Public Treasurer's Investment Fund, the PTIF fund that we as cities put our money into, and which is typically, it's pretty low, the amount of interest that we earn off of that. And so this option that they've given us would be much better financially for us than if we were to go try to borrow money on the market. So again, a really nice thing that Orem's doing to
even though it's a very nice thing, it still equates that we have some funding options. But what this boils down to is it's going to, starting in fiscal year 2027, really means, which is where we're at, really means $1 million per year in order to help pay that off, which will then grow as we get into phase 2 to around 1.4. So still a large amount of money just to pay off that Bank of Orem or help pay for the Bank of Orem, as well as that, the bond amount. The question had been raised in previous discussions with Van and Lincoln. Well, for how many years is that? Yeah. Like what's the term? And I don't know if we know for sure, Adam, is that a 20 or a 30 year? We would just say, as I used to say about World War II, for the duration. It's going to be out there a ways. So if someone were to come ask you and say, well, is that going to drop off? Are we going to not see our fees raise eventually? The answer is eventually. But chances are we'll probably have a similar deal with Orem for phases 3 and 4. So don't plan on this going away anytime soon. It's the best way to put it.
And kudos to Adam for thinking of the idea and actually having the guts to ask Orem to basically, would you carry this for us? And it's a fantastic deal for, it's a lot, it's a big chunk for us to absorb and figure out, so.
And I just should probably point out, we're not the only ones. Orem is not the only sewer treatment plant going through these kinds of things. I live in Provo. They just went through a healthy upgrade, and so my bill went up.
And I think I shared in a couple meetings ago, TSSD we want them to do some upgrades because of the smells that our businesses are experiencing out there, and they're doing a massive one. And I showed how their utility rates are doing 100% increase for all the cities they serve. So I hope, although this is an increase, it's not enjoyable for our residents. It's not nearly the jump that American Fork, Highland, all the northern cities are going to have with TSSD as of yet.
So we looked at some ways then, we have this, 1 to 1.4 million that we're staring at. And we talked as city staff and looked at different billing options. And some of those options we looked at were incorporating that into the base rate on the utility bill so that when a resident or a business were to receive their utility bill, they wouldn't see that as a separate line item, that essentially they would just see a healthy increase. And we'll talk about what that increase is. but a very healthy increase to their base rate. We looked at that and thought that it would be, our suggestion is to, instead of adding that to the base rate, actually adding a new line on the utility bill, something akin to sewer treatment facility fee.
Yeah.
This would be more transparent. It's simply a pass-through fee that we need to pay in order to treat our sewage. So this isn't, it doesn't help the resident feel much better about it. They're still paying for it, we're all paying for it, but it's more transparent. Anything else you want to add on that, Kristen? No. Okay. So, in essence, the current sewer, this is just the sewer utility bill item on their bill would be, they would see a base fee and a usage fee. The base fee, and Juan can speak more to this in a minute, covers essentially those fixed cost items that we have to pay whether we use any capacity in the plant. It's a fixed cost, whereas the usage fee varies as people's sewage goes up and down. How many gallons based on their drinking water use. So on the left side, they would have currently 2 items, and then in the future, you'd see that third item. So they would have the base fee, the usage fee, and now this new sewer treatment facility fee on their bill. This is where Juan jumps in now and explains this incredibly
I just have a quick
fun-looking graph.
question for the council. You know, as people look at this on their bill and how it can be understood, and in the spirit of transparency, obviously, do we want to have that title? I mean, we could talk about the title with that fee. I think it's a great recommendation to have it as a separate line item, so it is, this is what, the why. This is the why. Do we want, I almost feel like the word in there that might help a little bit would be like the word improvement or upgrade or something, I don't know. Have you guys talked about that?
Interestingly enough, we looked at that, and we had sewer treatment upgrade fee. I don't speak current lingo from the generation that texts and things, but apparently the acronym that would be created from that would not be something we would want to put on a utility bill, so we took out the word upgrade. But improvement, so I don't know. We'd have to check against an urban dictionary to make sure that we weren't offending anyone. So Jake's laughing because apparently he just got it.
I put it all together.
Yeah, so. Anyway, we took the word, we actually had upgrade originally, and then we took it out. So we can definitely bat that around and come up with
What
something
is
that's not
council's
offensive.
thoughts on that title for an added, because it is going to be the new increased money, and they'll be looking at that, well, whoa, my bill went up for this, what is that? So what do y'all think?
We came up with a bunch of other, like, more humorous acronyms that were not offensive, but we thought, really, it's for sewer treatment facility. So
Maybe it's great as is.
anyway,
Yeah.
think about that. If you want to come up with something else,
Really a
we're
big
all
fan
ears.
of putting it there. I think it's fine that way.
Do you have to have,
Be even more clear that
do
way.
you have to have fee? I mean, I know there's a question about how many characters can be on the line in the statement. Can it fit sewer treatment improvement?
52 or something? 50 or 52 characters, is that?
Well, this will show up in different places, and so I need to verify how many characters we have on the utility bill itself, because that's where the residents are gonna see it. We see it in other places on reports where there might be more characters, but on the utility bill, I believe Chase said 52, but I wasn't sure if that's what he was looking at, was the utility bill.
Yeah. This would fit, and we could do, but then we started looking at acronyms, but then I think somebody would just ask the question, well, what does that stand for, at least for a while, so.
I mean, it's really the Orem wastewater facility rehabilitation. So we can probably abbreviate the water reclamation facility as WRF, but put Orem, WRF rehabilitation.
But Orem specifically asked that we do not reference them.
Them. They don't want to get the hate.
And not everyone knows,
It's our plant as well.
Yeah.
We're 12% of it, so.
and not everyone understands water reclamation, and that's why
Yeah.
we went with sewer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know, there's no doubt, I've asked the question a while back, are we a customer of Orem or are we a partner? And I think the answer is absolutely both. We are a customer where this is coming, but I've just appreciative to Orem in, you know, in our joint meeting, the discussion, the work with our employees and helping this process go. So we are both, we are a customer, but they've done a really good job reaching out and working together with us. And again, just as simple as the Bank of Orem is just pretty
That's
darn
huge.
cool.
For sure.
So give that some thought if you want to delve into AI and come up with some catchy phrase. But anyway, for now, we've got this. So that's what it is. So, Juan, what did you want to drive the mouse, or are you good?
No, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. This is our operations chart on the water worth. So the lighter blue is our regular operations. That's where our base fee goes to pay for employees, power, just all the everyday activities. And then the darker blue is what that jump is in 2027 and back in 2030 for phases 1 and 2. That represents 937,000 on year 2027, and the 2030 shows that 1.4 million. That second line is our, what is this? Is that the revenue?
This is the revenue.
Okay, so this is the revenues, and the capital, well, not the capital, but the cash flow. Same thing, the brown bars is the current, all the way to 2026 is our current base fee. And then you can see the jump on the revenue. If we include that fee, that will go to cover that jump on the blue, on the darker blue. The lighter blue at the very top, that is the original bond that we have with Orem to do all the improvements we did with the expansion from 1.2 million gallons of treatment up to 1.6, and then it included a lift station and a few other improvements. So that eventually is going to fall off our responsibility in 2032. Is that what I see?
Yep, about
2032. Any questions?
So that's where we're already participating with the Bank of Orem.
Correct. And then this chart right here is our sale of services. So this chart has everything: capital, operations, revenue, and cash flow. In year 2024, we started increasing our rates to make up for what could be coming with either capital improvements or gearing up for some of the Orem's plant. So we did 3 large increases from 7%, and 10%, and on the use, and on the base we stayed at 7% increases per year. This year, if we pass this fee, I'm proposing to drop the use at 1% and the rate increase for the base rate to 3%, and then keep it pretty flat moving forward to get that base rate that we have for the city operations pretty steady, but then they'll still have that big increase for the treatment plant upgrades. As you can see there, the cash flow it stays pretty steady. We're doing some capital projects, but the way we have it set up, the cash flow stays fairly above our minimum thresholds to keep doing capital projects. Any questions?
What's happening, I mean, Reader's Digest version, what's happening in sewer that is causing these increases? Is it strictly inflation? Is there government regulation that's causing us to have to do more to clean our water. I guess it just seems so much.
Yeah, Orem jumped into the regulation meeting numbers way before they became as pressing. You know, they jumped in the beginning of when regulations were impacting the nutrient removal, and they took care of that way at the very beginning. All these other plants, Provo, even Spanish Fork, Salem, Santaquin, and now TSSD, they started doing their phosphorus and the nutrient removal later. But what happening with Orem is that the plant was built in the 1950s, mid-1950s, and a lot of these components just went past their life expectancy, and now they're having to rebuild and then have some redundancy on some of these capacity. So and inflation, of course, it's going up with concrete materials and.
So it's a mix of both, Jake.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because we'll be the ones explaining it to the residents, and it is significant. And so being able to tell that story of, hey, we're stuck in this contract with Orem, and they decided to build this great new facility, but more of that why is helpful.
It's not so much that they decided that these are federal and state requirements that they have to meet for treatment standards, for the discharge and the water quality standards that have to be upgraded, but it's also the facility is aging and has to be replaced.
Yeah.
We'd asked that question at that joint meeting, and their best estimates that 25 to 30% of this is new regulations.
Love that. That type of stuff.
Really helpful.
And it is cool, written down in the minutes from that joint meeting in our council report today. I mean,
the wastewater,
it's summarized very well by Reed Price in about 2 paragraphs.
the nutrients going into the lake, we want our lake to recover. And, Orem has an anaerobic system, which is pretty phenomenal already, so the smells are so greatly reduced and housed in buildings. That's, they've been ahead of the game, but all the treatment plants throughout the state are doing, multi-million-dollar upgrades. Everyone's in this same boat, hundreds of millions. And one of the things too that Orem's doing that's really great in water conservation is there's a lot of water that's also now gonna go. They reuse out on the golf courses and things like that. So maybe that doesn't have to be as perfect and pure as what goes into the lake. So they've tried to be really smart about it. So
Everything is a trade-off.
yeah.
Because once they reclaim some of that water, the Great Salt Lake people aren't happy because it's not all going to the Great Salt Lake. So as that's reclaimed and it goes onto the golf courses or other uses in the area.
They have another battle. They have another water rights battle to address that issue.
Brittany, I wonder if you can find those couple of paragraphs that Van was mentioning and incorporate those into the minutes into this meeting. That would be great.
I think that'd be wonderful.
Page 12 of the minutes.
Go Van.
I'd say to Juan and Van as well, do you feel like wants versus needs? I think these facilities sometimes become, I look at some of our schools with our 4-story atriums that are paid for by taxpayer dollars. These are needs, not wants. We're not going for the flashy. I want to be able to confidently tell people that.
They're going to pay for those too. Because of their larger water lines going in. However they're doing it, that impacts them. It impacts them more.
Sure, and I guess my question to you two who have been closer to this, do you feel like we are approaching this from a very conservative approach of, hey, these are the needs, we need these, we have to have them, there's not any wants in this facility and in this upgrade?
I mean, when we've toured the facility multiple times, they're using state-of-the-art technology that I think is going to carry this for, the next generation. You could decide to just sort of piecemeal patch through, or you do it all at once. Maybe that's the best use of, funds. And so I don't see anything fancy or over the top there. I mean, there's not some beautiful facility for employees to hang out or anything like that at all. It's very utilitarian.
Yeah, I've toured that with you over there. It is pretty bare minimum, and so I guess with these upgrades,
Yeah,
feel
it's a
comfortable
hard
there.
pill. There is no doubt. You know, one of the things I was talking to my wife about this. I said, it is really a pretty cool thing. In my home, I just turn a faucet and clean water comes out. We flush toilets whenever we want, and it just goes away.
yeah.
But there's an incredible amount of work from current staff, previous generations, that we have the water, we have the sewer facilities, and yes, our 1950 station wagon needs to be replaced.
Yeah, I had like a similar thought. I mean, even just with the increase from the projected to the actual payment, it's like, that's 53% difference from what's gonna cost 58.
New items were added.
Yeah, and so I was like, it would be nice to know, because inflation accumulating over that period of years would be 12 to 15%, but it's a 53% increase. So it's stuff like that where it's kind of hard, unless it's like, actually, this part was phase two, that was helpful to say, actually grab some stuff off of phase two. But whenever someone has to pay more for something that they didn't volunteer for, but still want the service, they want to get mad at someone, you know, pointed at somebody. And there's a reason why Orem doesn't want to be on the bill, you know, because it's the only thing that gets pointed would be anger, and there's not reason to be angry. It's just a situation. But I have the same kind of questions, just to be able to look someone in the face and say, no, this was part just needing to be done. It was the essentials that were being done. It was done in a way that was cautious. But so I appreciate those questions.
So in my mind, this is kind of, we are a customer of Orem.
Yeah.
Do we want to be a customer of Orem, or do we want to start our own sewer treatment plant?
Right. That'd be more, right?
Yeah,
Hundreds of
absolutely not.
millions, or do we want to try to go over into Timpanogos Special Services District where,
Where they're having a 100%
They're
increase.
charging more.
and their improvements are more.
They're more behind than Orem is. That's,
What about Vineyard? What's their piece in this? They're part of,
they're only
They
a
have
small
2%
percentage.
Oh,
of the
2%.
capacity, and then the rest of it they send to Timpanogos.
They have a small area right around Sleepy Ridge Golf Course. It's part of Vineyard. I think that's the area that feeds into Orem. The rest of it all goes to Timpanogos.
And I certainly appreciate that concern for every one of our citizens. And we know people that this will be have a dramatic impact on their budget. And it is a hard thing. The city's been looking ahead. Money's been being set aside for projects or upgrades. That's helping, but this is a big hit. There's no way around it, but
I just want to clarify a number that you've indicated. 25% is due to federal and state regulations. The 75% is their infrastructure.
Just
Their
replacing
old-
it, like
what did you
keeping
call it? The station wagon?
yep, taken.
The Chevy station wagon. There's a lot of people that are going through this. I've been chatting
But
with
it's
my.
also increasing the capacity, isn't it? I mean, from the old system?
Not really,
No,
no.
it's not.
2012, I
Very
believe it
original.
was, is when we entered into an agreement that increased the capacity. And so that prior bond that we're still paying on, that was the capacity increase.
Capacity increase. Okay.
Might have been even
Different bond.
2008, maybe. So.
is there any other cities feeding into the Orem? Just a little bit of Vineyard.
Right.
I was just looking at Orem's population, which has declined slightly over the last couple of years. And so I guess it's probably, I mean, some of these other areas that are growing, not only do you have to take care of the capacity, but the growth. I mean, you look at Lindon, we're not going to grow significantly. So they're probably looking at it, and I imagine as these are the connections we have, this is the amount of sewer we're going to have, how do we maintain this long term? So appreciate the thought. Know that I'm going to have many friends and neighbors question this, and so appreciate the ammunition to speak thoughtfully about it.
Probably the only question I've had coming into this is, how do we put some information to the public? Does that go in the first utility bill or two to explain, not in too much, you can overwhelm.
Right.
And there's a ton of fun charts here and all of that, but it can be, you can go too far with too much information, but just maybe some high-level points, and we don't know how, I don't think we know how that to do. This is what's coming, these are the reasons. Maybe AI helps us do that, I don't know.
And I would say, I would recommend that we get the word out as soon as possible before the next bill goes out, because that's when they'll see, that's when will go into effect. And I think it would, as a customer, would like a heads up more than just, here's your bill and the explanation.
Suddenly it jumped, yeah.
So,
You may have the question come up, I mean, since this is, we're in this together with Orem, how come my friend in Orem doesn't have this fee on their bill?
Yeah.
They have a different fee amount because they have a higher density, a higher population that's paying for this service. So they have more households per block than we do by far. Their density is a lot more. And so they individually, households are paying less than what a Lindon resident would be paying.
Did Orem and Vineyard do a pass-through like we're doing, splitting it into 3 and tweaking the amounts, or how did they?
I don't know what
I
they've
do know that they have been
decided.
building up their reserves in anticipation of this for a number of years, more so than even we have. So, but there's so many more people, but I don't know what their bills look like, if they're doing it as a separate item or it's
Orem
just
bill.
part of their base because they've been doing it for so long.
I have a property in Orem, it's tiny postage stamp lot, and the water bill is higher there than my home in Lindon, which a much, much bigger lot. So it's not a cheap water bill in Orem at all. I just, looking at the other sewer treatment plants that have all been upgrading around us, this is just a quick, rough little research, but Spanish Forks upgraded theirs, 131 million. We were talking about, are they doing something fancy here out of the pocket? Spanish Fork was approximately 131 million. Provo finished theirs, they started in 2020 and just opened in 2025, I think. They did their ribbon cutting, they spent 120 million ballpark. TSSD is planning to do, I think, 145 million total.
There's gonna be in the 700 million.
Well, okay, yeah, theirs is a lot more. I think they're behind on some things, and then, so we're talking, I mean, I think we're in the ballpark here, with the Orem one, at least this first phase, and the final, being maybe 150 million or so, but, so everyone's having, these upgrades are significant everywhere.
Want to say anything about this as far as the capital improvements, especially this
Well, this
next
one,
year?
I was gonna put $1 million here on capital, and then after we talked about putting a base, we just didn't, we're not gonna adjust anything on capital for this next year. We're not gonna spend any money on capital. So that's what that drops, that expense on sewer.
Certainly pushing down the road a little bit of other improvements.
You can see all those improvements that I have by year on the left that we're still having to do as in the collections department. So.
I just have a quick question going back to the first page of utility fee proposal. So it looks like base rate for a 1-inch meter, which is most standard residential homes, will actually drop a tiny bit.
Right.
Okay, and then you're gonna stagger the larger meters, actually have those users had a flat across the board equal base, and they're gonna start, explain to me why a user who has a 3-inch should pay, now 270 is their base versus the old 28.
Down the spreadsheet rabbit hole would you like to go? Because I can talk spreadsheets all night, as Van and Lincoln will attest from having sat through
So
multiple hours.
something to do
but-
with capacity, I'm assuming.
Right, so I will, if I can, jump back to where we were, and I think that'll come out, Mayor, because that is in here. So the
Okay.
next slide,
Great.
as far as the fee structure, let's talk about that. It's always a balancing act, right, between simplicity and we'll call it equitability, being simple versus equitable. And we try to balance those two out. The easiest thing, and which we will look at right now, this on the left would be our sewer utility fee is on the simple side of things currently. And I would say our water, how it's structured, is definitely not as simple. As you can see, it's just longer on the page. If you just looked at volume of words or, text on there, and that's because it's set up similar to what we're proposing for looking forward to with the sewer and making things more equitable. And I'll get into how that's structured, but right now, on the simple side of things, every connection that connects to our sewer, whether it's your house, a rental, or if it's North Point Solid Services District, Walmart, they all pay the same. You all pay the exact same amount, which is $28.40 per month for your base rate. That's simple. It's a really easy way. You have a connection to the sewer, $28.40. Is that equitable? Does a connection that is larger, for example, Oak Canyon Junior High has 2 4-inch water connections. North Point has a 6-inch connection. It's the largest connection in the city. Walmart has a 3-inch connection. Do they have the ability to use more water and consequently put more through the sewer treatment plant? The answer is yes, and that's what these, in fact, I'll show you how we came up to that, what those factors are. So we can leave it as is, and I've kind of shown you, I'll show you what the math looks like if we leave it the exact same way we're doing it, 1 per connection, whether it's somebody's house or it's Walmart. We're proposing that that is not how we move forward, that we instead do it based on the meter size to make it, to spread the wealth out.
Is that what is done elsewhere? Have you compared?
Yeah, so I did some comparisons, and I talked to one of our consultants that put together our impact fee. So I should also say they structured our impact fee already for sewer as well as for water to be based on this size of water connection. So it's easy to see, okay, when water, we have the 1-inch connection, they have the ability to take out so much water. On sewer, we don't meter it. At least we don't on a per household, right? We meter it down towards the plant, but we don't have a meter on everyone's sewer connection to say how much did you actually put down the sewer. So we assume that if they have a pressure irrigation connection, year-round, whatever they use, what goes in must come out. We figure that it's not being used on the yard because they're using their pressure irrigation for that. But if they don't have pressurized irrigation, the secondary water system, then things change a little bit because in the summer, how are they watering their plants, their lawn? Well, that's also coming through their water connection. So then in those cases, we look at it as it says here on the bottom here, for customers without pressurized irrigation, usage is based on the average winter water use from December to March. So we presume, once again, what goes in must come out through the sewer with what's being used inside only. So that part won't change, but what we are proposing is that we do make it more fair or more equitable and mimic what we have already done with our impact fees and base it on their water meter size because they have the ability to use and put down more sewage.
But we're charging a usage, and that's the reality, right? So why can't our base be, instead of 842 for the 6-inch, that certainly is more than the 1-inch at the residential, but can't that amount be captured in the usage?
I would respond to it this way, and I've struggled with this for a couple of years. And so just picture my home now. I got me and my wife. We won't use a ton of water. When my grandkids and people come, all of a sudden now we have 8, 9 people in there. And maybe I'm only going to turn on the water a little bit, but if you will, the base charge has to handle the potential of what I might want. So if the base charge was going to be, as you're talking about there, it would only be able to supply for 2 people in the home. And when there's 8 or 9, it would just trickle out because it didn't have the capacity to provide that water. The usage then is the second component of that then is now measuring, ticking it off as it goes through. So that helped me, whether it gets you there or not yet, I don't know. I had to hear it for a couple of years, quite frankly. So the need for potential, what actually comes through, and then now
And the sewer doesn't get measured, it's only the intake that is metered, or what?
What goes
Right.
through the water?
We don't have a separate metering of the sewer, what's
We
going?
don't meter everybody's sewer. So there's not a sewer meter. Typically, what comes out through your sewer is a little harder to measure because it has more particles, is a nice way to put it, in it. And so there isn't, and we have not, I don't know of anyone who measures the actual output of the sewer on a per connection basis. So we estimate what is being used from the water. And I'll go ahead, I like what Lincoln asked the question, well, is there another way to maybe, we can certainly structure this however you would like. One of the tasks that we as staff were tasked with when we found out, Adam did some very rough back of the envelope and said, if we have this many connections, we have $1 million, it's this much. And guess what? He was dead on as long as you have the right number of connections, because it's $1 million divided by how many connections. I mean, it's about the easiest math problem. You definitely don't need a spreadsheet for that. The task was, okay, do we feel good about that, passing that entire thing on to the residents, or is there a way to potentially, let's look at structuring it, and out of that discussion came, let's make it transparent on the bill, let's look at different ways to structure it, and heads up, we have other ideas for next year that we will show you potentially being more equitable, but it makes it less simple, which then, so I will get into that at the end, but for this year, we're looking at just structuring it with the water meter. And we can play with the numbers, and I can give you the spreadsheet, and you can play with numbers and say, okay, we feel good about this. Let me jump down.
I guess the part that I'm just worried about our business owners.
Yeah.
Because the 6-inch is 30 times increase.
So no,
on the
understand
base.
this,
It's like huge.
North Point, if they get a much larger bill, who actually ends up paying that? You do. So I know we're feeling bad for the business, and we don't want to drive businesses away, but in all essence, whether it's a school district or whether it's a business, the residents will end up paying it, but it won't necessarily be Lindon residents. It will be Lindon and whoever else comes there residents.
how many 6-inch lines are there? North Point.
But that's just gonna be
So this is a discussion that we had during the week that I think is good for the rest of the council to appreciate. Stouffer's down in, where are they? Springville, right? They pump a lot of water through their equipment, and they use a lot of water, and they pump a truckload into the sewer system. A truckload. I think yeah. Didn't they have like 50% of your?
Yeah, so they use 1 million gallons of water, roughly, and they send about 350,000 to the sewer treatment plant.
So this is a company that's using and sending it down the sewer a ton. North Point Solid Waste has it for fire suppression. They're an entity that is not using the water like a Stouffer's entity. I don't know what their water output is, but I would bet it's less than Walmart. They have to have a big pipe for water to put out fires, but that's not.
Again, and that's the potential versus usage too. And
Sure.
when you see the 2267, that's if we don't do it.
Noah may get to
Or
this in
even
his presentation,
1998
but
if we
there's
do separate
there's a very limited number of these large meters, Mayor. And so we're really talking about 10 or so businesses. And so this isn't across the board. Most of them have smaller meter sizes. So keep that in mind, that we have a pretty limited scope of these significant impacts. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is that the city council under our city code serves as the board of equalization. We don't have it come up very often, but a business or a resident can come in with their utility bill and say, I want an exception, and here's why. They could come in like Stouffer's does to Springville and say, here's what's really going on at this facility, and they can request an exception to their bill. And you, as the Board of Equalization, we would have to advertise it, put it on an agenda, and you can do that. And so that's already set up in our current ordinance.
So North Point can already appeal that 6-inch.
And I will discuss why we came up with this and ways to potentially soften the blows, such as Adam just brought up, but why we may not want to cap it at a certain number for the base rate based on how our impact fee is structured. I don't know if we would open ourselves up to some necessary changes due to legal recourse if we did that. And Brian's not here to answer that question, but something to think about. So I'm gonna go for John. Feel free to continue to ask questions. It helps me and it's healthy. So this sewer treatment facility upgrade fee, so now we have the U in there, right? And the current base rate methodology, in other words, the way we calculate the base rate, if we were to do it in the same way for just this sewer treatment new fee, and Van wanted me to add on here in yellow so that we knew this is in addition to, okay? So the current way if we were to do it that way, this is Adam's back of the envelope calculation. Take $1 million, divide it by the current number of connections that we bill sewage to, which is $36.76. You come up with $22.67 per connection. That's a new fee on top of the $28.40, right, just for the base. If what we're recommending is instead figuring it, and I'll show you the numbers of where these factors come up with, which are already once again using in both our water rates and also our water and sewer impact fees.
Will you mention your cap at 2-inch rate as well?
Yes, so that's on there. As you'll see, that first line item, we recommend basing it on the culinary water connection size, but then capping it at the 2-inch rate. And then that equates to, it jumps from that $36.76. We now have something called an ERU or an ERC, which is an equivalent residential unit. So it's as if we were dividing up, a Stouffer's would be like, 1,000 households, how much sewer they use. So that jumps up. So basically, that's $1 million divided by that 4172, and you end up with a fee of $19.98 per ERU. So as a homeowner, instead I would save about a little less than $3 a month. Is that a lot? Is that worth going through all these gyrations and trying to figure it out, or do you want to stick with the current way that's simpler? It's only $3 a month, but is that $3 a month mean something to someone? So we're recommending you do it a little more equitably, that $19.98. And so where do these ERU or ERC factors come? Well, you can get down into the literature, but basically if you have a water meter of a certain size, you can operate it, and that is the safe in gallons per minute, how much that meter can safely put through. And our impact fee right now, we have both 3/4 inch and 1-inch meters in our system for residential, and then we go all the way up to 6-inch. We don't have any 8-inch in our system as far as the water meter. We are proposing, and this is done often, that we're basing it on the 3/4, but that we are essentially saying whether you're a 3/4 or a 1-inch, you have the ability, if you divide 50, which is gallons per minute, for the 1-inch, divided by the 30, because we're all basing it on that 30 gallons a minute, that's where these factors come up. So if you take a 6-inch of 1,000 gallons a minute and you divide it by 30, you get 33.33. So that's where these numbers, it's just math divided on what you can get out of a 3/4 inch meter. We don't want to ding someone for having a 1-inch meter, because the city, that's your minimum size that you are allowed to put in. So we say those two, for 3/4 and 1-inch, should both be equal to 1, and then there's those factors going on from there. And so this now is kind of the heart of the math, and I have the spreadsheet, and this is a screenshot. You can see, as Adam pointed out, so over here is the number of connections based on the size. So if you follow that row across, we have 35 3/4-inch connections all the way down to 1 6-inch connection. And I've got a spreadsheet that I got from, the finance department that shows every single person, who it is, and we could delve into that, which you probably don't want to. We have the great bulk of them, 3,510 are 1-inch connections. So 3,510 plus the 35, there's most all of your residential. We do have a couple of larger ones, but for the great majority of them, that's 3/4-inch and 1-inch. And if we were just to do it, once again, $1 million up here at the top divided by this total number down here, you'll see their monthly cost would be $22.67. If we apply these factors over here, and this is where we, Juan is like, I have the same feeling as Lincoln. I don't feel necessarily great about the the 5 3-inch connections and the 2 4-inch and the 1 6-inch. Those guys paying these really large factors. What if we, this is totally up to us, capped that at the same as a 2-inch? So it's essentially that 5.33. Doing that is where you get this $41.72, and the math works out to be $19.98 of a new sewer treatment fee on top of their base fee. Clear as mud?
But certainly for us to decide.
Certainly for you to decide. You could cap it at something else. You could just say, we're just going to charge everyone the same. Or you could, and I'll show you that in a second, we could play with the numbers and say, no, you know what? If they have a 3-inch connection, they chose to do that, we're going to charge them the 10.67. We're going to charge the 16.67 factor. And we could go through the math and how that changes the fee a little bit. And it drops this, not a lot, because there's not very many of them. The quantity of the connections just doesn't really, the weighting doesn't mean a lot. But it does to that one user that has a 6-inch connection. So that's kind of where we drew the line in the sand. So that's our recommendation. If you choose not to accept it,
Highlight those numbers on the right side, zoom in on that. So on the far right of the table.
I'm trying to get there. So this is essentially, and this is what Kristen has in that sheet we looked at, first sheet. You can see up to and including 1 inch is $19.98. Your 1.5 inches, $16.59, and then 2 inch and above. And I probably have a math error there, rounding, but it's that 106.
And if you didn't cap it, so these amounts were created by division from the million, so it's probably not just a factor of multiplying, but do we have a sense of, from the 27, the 11, the 5, those last 3 rungs, what their amounts would be if we hadn't capped it at the 2-inch ERU factor?
You want me to get into the spreadsheet?
I'm just trying to get a sense of the edges.
Oh, we can jump into it. I've got that in the spreadsheet, but
Spreadsheet changed so that the residential user went to like 1927 or 1940 or something like that.
it doesn't, so if we want to dive into it, I got the spreadsheet.
No, I just didn't know the magnitude of how much it would
Hardly
impact the
anything,
5.
it's like cents.
Oh, if we're talking the difference of cents, then why did we cap it?
No, because if you'll notice, Cole, there are a significant number up to,
Yeah,
I think Cole wants to see how much it would cost those users if we didn't cap.
the last 3.
to sign in, so hold on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like Oak Canyon, right? They're 2 4-inch, so they're of the 5, it sounds. So that's almost 50% of them.
All right. Due to our security regulations, it's taking me a second to sign in. You should all know that don't we feel good that we have.
Again, I want to remind everybody, this is the new fee.
Yeah, right.
Well, I
Yeah.
think you have
Those other numbers are the base rate.
This is just-
This is the new to cover the improvements.
Right.
So if you take away the cap, then the 1 inch goes down, if I go by memory,
Sure.
$19.47.
Some sense, yeah.
So if you take that and then times the 33.33 factor, that is $648.94.
Okay.
That North Point would be paid
It would add up. Okay, that makes sense.
a month.
Yeah.
You know, and certainly Noah's talked about simplicity, equity, but there's also a political component of that, for sure, that we will all discuss.
Yeah.
When would it be proposed that these new rates go into effect on the bill?
They will be effective for the August billing, which will be done at the beginning of September. So it'll be for all of the usage from August 1st to August 31st.
So they're kind of retroactive.
Right.
We need to get, we need to get information out.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier. They'll see it on their next bill at the beginning of September.
While he's looking that up, how would you propose that we do that? We can send a letter to all of our utility accounts. An insert with the utility bill is a little bit challenging because only those with paper copies get it. And so anybody that pays
They're not too
online.
expensive to send out.
A postcard,
Yeah, I like sending out a notification.
For sure.
easy. So we can do a front and back with a little information.
Well, usually the back is the mailing info.
Oh, that's right. Okay, we'll think that through. All right.
All right. I'm gonna pull this over here so you can see.
Your eyes lit up when somebody raised you.
So
Spreadsheet.
It always
you
work.
say?
I'm so excited to get to show it off.
I appreciate it.
ask, do you want us, and the reason I'm asking is because it can get hairy. Do you want us to post anything on social media about this?
I would send just the postcard,
Card? Okay. All right.
my
We don't
suggestion.
need the armchair commentaries.
Yeah.
The fence at the baskets in the back?
I'm, yes, my eyes
Trying
are
to
locked.
see this, I'm gonna drag it down. There you go. It drops it to $19.61
For
from,
the residential.
no, per ERU. So every
Yeah.
single ERU, right, which is equivalent residential connection. I'm gonna hide these because you'll get distracted, so I'm just gonna, we're not gonna talk about those for a minute. But, so 1998. Then, if I drag this down.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the same exact factor.
Yeah, there it
right?
is.
There's
600.
no difference. And so you'll see, it dropped at 30 cents, well, 37 cents.
But he wants to see the one connection's now
The one
650.
connection-
Yeah, Kristen was
Two
saying it's like
connections at
600 bucks.
The 6-inch connection goes from $104-ish to $650 something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for that one person, now, once again,
And then Jed was,
you could adopt this and they could come and argue it,
Sure.
right, on a case-by-case basis. That's another option.
That's great. Yeah, I was wondering what the edges looked like.
I
That was
did the
helpful.
same thing. I'm kind of like, it's a sensitivity analysis,
Yes, that's
right?
exactly
So we're
right.
just kind of looking at it and saying, and who is that? That's this next spreadsheet. So this is all of our accounts, and I've sorted it by meter size. And the 1 6-inch connection is North Point Solid Waste Special Service District. And over here, I've got, you know, this is the factor for the base, this is the factor for the treatment if we go with the 2-inch, and I can change that. This is what they're currently paying, this is the proposed base, this is the proposed treatment, and then this was, the last column will be, what would their bill be? And
Yeah.
it would go up if we cap it at 2-inch and do as we propose by basing the base rate on the meter size. It goes from $28.40 up to $953 a month.
Yeah. That's wild.
So I'm just, the numbers are all here and you can.
Love the spreadsheet. It does good things to my heart, yes.
Anyway, that's,
Means all the other cities are gonna be ripping me a new
so,
one.
we've got through that part. So mull that over, but the sensitivity analysis shows that we don't really gain a lot or lose a lot by capping it
yeah.
there. Next thing.
The addition, so this would be, once again, this is the top part of Kristen's fee schedule, the additional fee. We're proposing 1998, 66.53 and 106.49. That's capping it at 2 inch. That's what you can see right here. Fair enough? This is, once again, it's an additional fee on top of the base. Then we're talking about base rate changes. So Kristen said, well, okay, well, if we're doing this methodology already in water, and we're making a change with the sewer, with this treatment fee, then why don't you, Noah, look and see what would happen if we implemented something based on these factors for the base rate? So, once again, the current on the left right now, the methodology we do, it's the same fee per connection, regardless of the size, the type, everybody, there's the number of connections, it's $28.40. Our recommendation is we base it on the culinary water connection size, which grows, and this is not the same number because we changed the factors. So this number is different, right? 4172, if we cap it at the 2 inch, that number goes up. So this is a simple law of fractions, right? We're dividing the number that we would have for money on top by a bigger number on the bottom. There's more pieces of the pie. That number then goes up to 4249 if we include all the factors. And it drops our base rate per ERU from 2840 to 2457. However, the other part of the puzzle is we are planning an increase of 3% on top of that number. So the true number is 2531. And then this is that spreadsheet there. So notice the 2457 is based on using the full factors, and there's some rounding errors that go on, and you know, Kristen just took these factors, the 2 decimal places. Mine has kind of got them out there a little farther. So, but this is with the 3% increase on this number, dividing it by this, you know, number. Once again, you can cap it, or you can have them come in. Juan fought long and hard to cap it, just the same way on the base rate. Here's my fear. And this is a recorded conversation, so someone could come in, I think, maybe, and say, well, you do your impact fees this way, and you do your water the same way. What the heck? Why not just cap everything at a certain rate? So if you choose to do that, I would think to be consistent, we're looking at redoing a bunch more stuff. Because otherwise, if I'm a developer and I'm looking at everything and like, I don't get why did you cap it? Well, we like North Point. They had a 6-inch connection. Well, I'm not North Point, but you could do me the same favor, even though I have a potential, and now I'm who knows what. I'm a water bottling plant. You have great water in Lindon. I'm going to bottle it and sell it.
So if that were to happen, someone were to come in and contest this and say, I need to have a lower, then we'll have a gap. So then how do we absorb the gap that's no longer getting paid because they won their exception? To then we
and that's one user, so we would have to look at that. Is it worth fiddling with the math? I don't know. That's a Kristen problem.
I almost think, though, that the impact fee is kind of, it's not a true apples and oranges, it's an apples.
It's the potential impact, which is,
But you're also buying into an infrastructure system that you didn't contribute to be created.
That's what the base rate is for too.
For the
is buying
potential
into the
impact,
system.
and will they ever actually use that much water or sewer?
I mean,
We don't know.
You're doing new development, you're building a big building, having the capacity for future businesses to use that, yes. But the monthly, I guess in my mind, just the monthly amount going up 10 times for the 5 companies, and then up to 30 times monthly, it's just enormous. I'm just having a hard time. I just think it's gonna be a huge shock. I'm having a hard time with that.
I'm with the mayor. I would love to see the usage be that difference, if that's at all possible.
Here's the problem with usage, it's covering different stuff, it's not covering operation. We can do that, we can fiddle with it, but we're trying to help people conserve water, right? And so if they conserve water, here's the funny thing, if you base everything on usage, they conserve water, and guess what? Their rates go up. And they're like, what the heck? I stopped watering my lawn. I'm only watering once every other week. I put in this fancy grass that Juan told me about. And I'm only watering, and everybody does that, and the usage goes down, but our fixed costs are the same, and we all get to pay more per gallon. And we say that doesn't feel right.
Do we have tiered, like once it hits a certain, so many thousand gallons per month? I mean, a lot of other cities are doing that. You go.
Okay, so
Yes,
are
we
you
do.
talking in water or
The
sewer?
usage.
In water or
On
sewer?
sewer.
In
Not on
water,
the sewer.
water, we have tiered rates.
Yes.
The state mandates that, we already have
Do some
them.
of these businesses that have these big connections, are they high water users? Or is it just kind of dormant at this point?
And the answer to that is, I don't know, because I got some of that data from, but then Chase was on vacation. So I don't have all of that for as far as the usage to say, is there a strict correlation to who has a large meter size and who uses the most water?
Yeah.
And the answer is, I don't know the answer to that.
How will COSA fine tune this in the future? What data will we get that will make it more accurate that we don't have now?
Yeah, so he's jumping ahead a little farther, which is the proposed thing we're gonna look at. So this Muniworth group that won, all the cool graphs and everything, where he can do stuff now and like on the fly that we would have taken like us, 2 weeks to do before. We are gonna work with them and feed them all this kind of stuff, and they want the usage, and they want how much you pay for electricity for the lift stations. We're gonna give all that to them, and then they are gonna do a bunch of number crunching for us and come back with, here's the true cost of service. A true cost of service analysis. Where right now, we don't really have that. I mean, we know what it costs somebody, we're billing them, but we're looking ahead a little bit. That's one of those slides that we're proposing. We're gonna look at that. We're also gonna look at things like, should those who are in gravity right now, who make their merry way, the sewage all the way out to Orem without going through a lift station, they're essentially subsidizing right now those who go through a lift station, because the lift stations require a lot more maintenance, and they use a lot of electricity, and it costs a lot more for every gallon than those who just flow down the system. And so right now, with our current structure, we're just charging them a fee, and we are not being as equitable, but it's a lot simpler. And if I was Heather, she'd be like, just keep it simple. My life's a lot easier if we just keep it simple than if we make it more equitable. But if I was a citizen and I found out or knew, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like I should be paying the same as a building down on the west side of town that gets lifted twice to make it.
So we don't have those data, or it's just a matter of we have the data, but they need to be analyzed by this third-party entity, and that would take time, money, or what prevents us from doing that
They're gonna do
now?
it for us because we already have a contract
Oh,
with them.
great.
And it's a fairly new thing that they've implemented. So we met with them and they said, here's what I need, and I have most of that, but they want just the most current year, and so I need to get back with finance. I had like previous years, but not the most current.
Now, keep in mind, this is something that we would be proposing for next year.
Yeah, so why don't we do it now, though?
Because we don't have the analysis ready. So
We-
the
we need
question
to
is-
start
And we don't
collecting-
We need to start collecting
need
for
to-
this treatment fee.
Time. We don't have enough time to get them what they need, or it's
We
a
don't have-
combination of getting them
well,
what they need and them
People went
crunching.
on vacation. I mean, Chase left, and so
Sure.
I could, but I don't know how long it'll take them to do the analysis.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we need to start paying this $1 million. So if we want to bag, I'm going to say this, if we want to bag the base rate for now and just say, we're just not going to do anything with the base rate, we've got to start paying for the
Yeah, we gotta do
treatment.
so, okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen, I mean, we don't have to implement this, but we have to pay the piper for the treatment.
Right, the base rate was calculated to only get 3% more revenue than the current way. So we're still taking the same amount of revenue plus 3% increase just for inflation, and then just redistributing how we're getting
I
it.
mean, so that doesn't hurt
So-
us as much, because we'll still be
Right.
getting the 2840 across the board the full spread.
Or you could do 2840 plus 3% and then just
Yeah,
not
that'd be
restructure
easy.
it.
That'd keep it simple, as you say, and we can work out if there's a more equitable way to do it.
It's just still the residential subsidizing the.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to see that 819 on North Point, I would rather give a little bit more of a break to the base rate to our overall
That's what
population.
I was looking at too.
Sure.
But do we need more time to determine?
Well, this would be
Fair
now, and then essentially we're gonna end up doing, if I get to that last kind of slides, what we're
Adjustment.
proposing for next fiscal year as part of your budget discussions to adopt next July 1st.
Can you give us numbers if you were to cap this, just like you did on the other one? What these numbers would be like?
So it's gonna be, yes,
They're gonna come.
it's gonna be that 1,252,780 divided by 4172, right? So that spreadsheet,
That's something I think to really look at. But how you do that and be.
is this guy right here. So, let's go to the base rate, and you're saying, what if we capped everything at that?
Again, you have to look at what they could take, what they do take.
Drum roll. $25.03 plus if we do the 3%.
Okay, show us our big payers.
133.
Where's the line that shows?
133 is
It just caps everybody at 133.
And your concern is when a developer comes in and says, hey, you capped it on these things, why can't you do that same kind of thing for my development?
Why
For
can't you do that for the
fee
impact
Or for the
fee?
water-based fee.
My concern is we're not being consistent in how we're doing it.
Yeah.
We're setting a precedent that it doesn't matter.
I mean, but just, I'm not saying that will happen, I'm saying that's my fear, that that could happen. I think you would be safer instead to adopt it with the full factors that match the impact fee analysis, and instead have users come in on a one-by-one basis and argue their case.
North Point is gonna fill out an application, they're gonna present it to you, you're gonna bring it to the council.
Because that is already in the code, as Adam pointed out. That mechanism exists where they could come in and say, here's our water bills.
So let's go back to our
Well, now
list of
you've mentioned
big
you'll have
pipes.
a gap where you can't now recover it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right, because we'll have already approved these fees based on getting
Why
the
not
money
do
from
fees
North
that will
Point.
be reasonable
But
and
that
won't
gap
get-
is
Yeah.
pretty small, isn't it?
Do ones that don't cause a huge reaction.
Maybe not.
Like $600 a month,
Again,
$500 a month.
People,
Your widowed neighbor. That's what we
can't.
have to figure out.
Is this being viewed as like a stopgap measure in anticipation of a more fine-tuned measure for next year? Like, is the anticipation that COSA will, is our guess that it's gonna be substantially different? I know we're looking down, because if it's gonna be about the
I don't know the
same-
answer to that. My guess is, I actually don't know. We're gonna incorporate some things that we don't have right now, so I don't know what that'll come up with.
Yeah,
We change them every year.
right.
Yeah, that cost of service analysis that they're gonna do, is it gonna come out within, 50 cents of our rough back of the envelopes? I don't know.
When I was reading through this, I really appreciate, it's a compelling argument when you mentioned it's like people are paying for a capacity to use even though they might not be fully exercising that capacity. I'll never be able to use 6 inches worth of sewer in my home. But then the other thing is usage. I guess I'm still, in my mind, it sounds like we do measure usage, but it's not great. It's input minus water that doesn't make it out. And we're assuming that got drank or cooked with or something. So we are doing usage. And
Is every single drop of water that comes through your water meter going down the sewer?
No.
No, but probably because you
use some of them.
sweat
Yeah.
or perspire, and so that isn't being captured. But the idea is, for estimating purposes, it's close enough.
So if a person if we did base it more off of usage and like Northwest or North Point, if we did have a more nuanced way of measuring it, or even our current way, and they ended up not really using as much as we think. So they're still paying for unused capacity because they have a higher base rate. Is that what we're conveying?
And at some point, they will use that.
That they could because the fact that you could
Wait, what
use
did you
this,
say, Van? At some point, they will use it?
I said at some point, they could use it.
Yeah.
so they're paying for potential
That's why they bought a
capacity.
6-inch line.
Yeah, because they might
for the
need it.
capacity
So
of
anytime
the
they have a
water
fire,
meter.
their sewer rate's gonna,
Yeah,
their sewer
that's-
costs.
I
gonna
mean,
go
their
up.
water meter is that large, Cole, and in that particular case, I believe, because unfortunately, they have fires on occasion. They need that big of a line. There's lots of buildings in town that have a 6-inch fire line that is not metered at all. But they don't only, so like lots of commercial buildings have a fire department connection where the truck will come up, they'll hook up to it, supplement the water, and we don't measure that. They just get it for free because we're grateful they don't burn the building down, right?
Yeah.
But North Point also, not only for fire, they also use the hydrants to fill water, and I don't know what they use it for, Juan.
Water trucks to keep.
Oh, sure.
Keep the dust down, right? So that's, instead of coming and renting from Public Works all the time, which we have, these fire hydrant meters, they just have essentially a permanent fire hydrant meter, right? They're kind of a one-off, theirs is kind of an interesting
But
case.
they're gonna pay a lot more for usage.
And they have,
They're gonna pay more in the sewer for that usage of stuff that's not going down the sewer.
under meter
If it's
vault,
for the truck.
Yeah.
their meter vault where they get all the water, they have a 6-inch meter and a smaller 3-inch meter bypass. So when they are using it for flushing toilets or smaller amounts of water, the water goes through the 3-inch meter. And that's how they get billed. But then when they use for water trucks, they are loading 5,000 gallons of water in 3 minutes. That's where we want to capture that water usage.
So I'm gonna invite us to take North Point off for just a minute and look at the next few. Alpine School District times 4.
3 at least.
They have two,
Okay.
they're the
Two-
only, so
Rocky.
Two
notice,
4s.
if I just sort, this is the size of, if I filter it and I chuck.
I think you can leave it, cause we can see.
But you have two, I've just sorted it by size of connection. We only have two 4-inch connections, and they both happen to be at Oak Canyon Junior High, and they are different. I hid the column, but they are different meter numbers, so it's not like we have an error in our system, we're billing the same one twice. It's a different meter. What do they use that for? Couldn't tell you.
And maybe on that place, say, hey, we're gonna be billed this much, do we really need 2 connections? And they might abandon one, so. A lot of people come in, for example, the US Bank, is it US Bank? They says, we want a 3-inch meter.
Yeah, they came in during their application process. They said, oh, we need a 3-inch meter. And we said, whoa, really? You don't really want a 3-inch meter? Oh, yeah, we need that. Our architect or our mechanical engineer says, we need a 3-inch meter. And we said, okay, we think you can get by with probably a 1-inch meter, maybe 1.5, but 3 inches, just a tremendous amount of water. And they said, yep, we need it. And then guess what? When Bryce McConkey from the building department figured up their impact fees, because we tried to warn them, it's not only the impact fee cost for water and for sewer, it's also your base rate every month. And then they looked at that numbers and they said, you know what? We think 1 inch would probably do it. So we're like, that sounds great. Right?
So it gives me a little bit of sleeplessness, but not very much. That someone like in North Point and Alpine School District, because this isn't now accurate, right? This spreadsheet has been topped, the proposed base? Oh, this is right, you just took out North Point. So these guys are gonna go from 2840 to 400, 2840 to 270. But they can come in and appeal that to us. Right, it keeps us to our impact fee issue, not a problem. If that usage,
But what do we gain
Base
from
rate.
asking people to jump through a hoop? If we're all okay with them appealing it, financially and otherwise,
Then the
then
money's
Well, you
lost,
would
the
decide,
revenue's
yes
lost,
or
and
no.
you didn't spread it, you gave everybody else a discount.
If they're new business, are they gonna also ask for some of their impact feedback.
Mm.
And, you know, like, I don't know what the repercussions, what we're opening ourselves up to. With the sewer treatment fee, I didn't feel bad capping it because it is a new fee, and it is not similar to how we are calculating impact fee and base fee. You know, those things aren't all into that treatment fee.
Well, if you want to have different tiers, is there a way to do it that it's not so astronomical?
Right.
At the higher end. It's just so huge. And it's monthly. It's not a impact is one-time fee. We're
But
talking
they're-
every month.
Their water base that they're already paying monthly is already high, like that. The same multipliers are being used for their water, for culinary water meters.
Yeah. In my mind,
You don't have to adopt this tonight. We can keep mulling this over for months. And so
for me, I was going to ask that, and ask her if we need to do it tonight. If
this-
we didn't,
This portion, the of
Base.
our discussion. Yeah, this is,
To do it, we need to adopt some increases to start.
But we can adopt the
New fee.
new one, the $20 per household
oh, sure.
tonight, which can help us starting to build up that sewer treatment.
And I would
Fund.
also request a 3% increase on the base. If we decide to keep the base at the 2840, a 3% on that.
Yeah.
There are options here. Option 1, option 2, 3 just gets really weird, so I would say maybe don't go there. But I shouldn't say weird, complicated and complex.
More to think through perhaps.
He hid from us just now.
But the businesses have ways to help recoup these extra costs. The residents do not.
Yeah.
So, you know, North Point, like we pointed out, they can pass that on to the users. They can increase their rates. Businesses can increase what they're charging for their services or their products. But a resident, you know, put a 3% increase on the 2840 and add a new 1998 treatment fee. It's not, it's a few dollars more a month than what we're originally proposing. But to some people, it would make a difference. So that's why we're trying to adjust the base for the residential at the same time.
Yeah, before coming tonight, I was thinking about different sensitivity analyses, like Noah was mentioning, that could help me see the edges of this. And we've seen some which are really great, because there's the business as usual, the proposed, one that's based primarily on usage, and then this tiered one that came to my mind. And those are just scenarios that, seeing those edges, speaking to residents or businesses, for me, it'd make it a little easier to say, well, we looked at 4 different ways, and the split of them, you're coming out generally better. So those were just 2 other sorts of analyses, that columns to this spreadsheet, if you will, that would be interesting to me just to see. But we have to make some level of decision, you said, tonight. What's the level of decision we need to make tonight?
we're asking you to approve the recommended changes.
So we don't have more
Go to
time.
that first. Well, no, you have more time to discuss this other alternative of looking at zones and evaluating the electrical pumps and all of that kind of stuff. But what we're asking you tonight to adopt is these changes that are, can you go to that first page?
Yeah.
You can choose not to adopt something tonight, but
Right.
we're gonna bring this up in the next meeting. I mean, we have to pay a bill.
We'll
And
drain the
so-
fund until
Yeah,
there's nothing
we've
left,
got to
and then
do-
we'll have to
we've got to
increase
do
it
this
more,
one.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
We've got to do the additional fee.
Yes.
The question is whether or not we need to do all the changes to the base rate right now or not. But I think that additional fee that pays the sewer treatment, that's kind of like that one. We need to start getting that so that this is, once again, it's a pass-through. If we choose not to adopt anything, it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Orm's coming calling, you know, they gotta pay the piper for that $1 million per year, that has to be paid somehow.
Yeah.
The base
The base will.
changes
yeah.
one, you could potentially kick that can down the road a little bit.
Because the revenue will, it's revenue neutral. We're just changing who
Who's
pays what
paying
share.
it?
So
But
that
this-
one,
yeah.
if we want more time, to figure something out, we can. It won't
tricky.
affect getting the revenues we need started.
So to answer your question about the culinary water base for a 6-inch meter, it's $875.68 a month. So it's,
For culinary?
right, so it's using the same multiplier.
All right. Well, council, let's keep moving here. We've been on this item for almost an hour. So let's, what are your thoughts here? Noah, you have a little bit more in your presentation that you wanted to cover?
I was just gonna show you, this is, because we've already been discussing essentially what is on this one page. Here's the additional fee and the changes, and then what does that look like for a 6-inch, a 4-inch, a 3-inch, and a current residence? And the question is whether or not you want to be able to, for a resident to come in and say, you know what, we get it. $20 extra more per month for this treatment fee, which we don't really have much control over. But if we have looked and tried to structure this so that you're getting a little bit of cost savings, $3 a month if you want to go that route, to drop it from $28.40 to $25.31. But you don't have to.
I don't know if $3 does a ton for every residence compared to the strong shock and awe that the businesses will get, 20 times, 30 times bill monthly. I don't know.
I also wonder if they think that's really weird, that their water is so high and the sewer is so low.
I don't know.
Probably don't correlate them.
Doesn't probably,
But go back to the
Next.
3-inch meter. So that is most of our commercial connections right there. So it's gonna be $376.
Because it's being capped at the 2-inch, I think you're focused on that $800 number. We've already recommended that we're capping it, so they're gonna, all those 3-inch, 4-inch, and 6-inch meters.
yeah, I'm talking about the base rate. Yeah.
The great majority of
Base
the
rate part.
businesses are, as you'll see, the 1.5, they're mostly 1.5 and 2-inch, which are less. Even with the base rate, even if you don't cap it, the majority of your businesses are right there. So 3 times and 5 times, not this. We're all getting stuck on North Point. I get it. It's a lot. And if I was North Point, if Neil were still here, he'd be like, we're gonna come in on day 1 and we're gonna ask for a reprieve, right? But there really aren't very many 3-inch and above.
I mean, $137 bill for a large commercial facility is not out of control.
Well,
I mean,
is
my-
this
my
proposing a
sewer-
cap or not? Because
We
you,
capped it, so
this is
if
the
we
cap.
don't.
If we don't do the cap, it's massive.
Right, but we're not recommending not doing
They're
it.
recommending,
this is
they're
the base.
recommending not capping that.
Confusing it with the other.
The problem is they want me to go back and look at it, so if
base
we move
rate.
that back,
On their sheet, it
Drops
shows recommended
it
the
ain't
2-inch.
I'm
cap
sorry,
rate.
28. It's a hefty, I mean, it is,
Yeah.
it's big, it's huge.
But your North Point is that line, up from there is Alpine School District, up from there is the Temple, right?
So if we go back to who those are,
Mark Weldon's business
here's
is
the
in Temple.
3-inch, you've got Rocky Mountain Elementary, WICP, Mark Weldon, the Temple, another building out there in Mark Weldon's development, another building in Mark Weldon's development, us,
Award
Those are not
codes.
2-inch meters.
Award
Those are
code
2-inch.
is next to his, but it's not his.
Right, he doesn't own Wilson Tech anymore either. And then you've got some other ones that are, Spring Gardens.
The rest of them are 2-inch and it's not.
So, I mean, then you got a lot of 2-inch, which isn't a massive increase.
All right, council, what would you like to do?
If I may, I'm just gonna finish this off. We are also talking for like next July, once again, simple versus equitable, so we're looking at a few different things potentially for next July. If you wanna kick, this is what Cole was asking about, this cost of service analysis, as they delve into lots more stuff. We also considered now, but we're kicking that down, looking at things by lift station zones, because right now, those who are gravity flowing, which is essentially everything in gray, is subsidizing those who are on the west side of town because they are being lifted through sewer treatment plant or sewer lift stations once or twice. And we're also looking at, this is something we incur a lot of expense for maintenance, specifically in lift station number 5, which is this guy down here, because we have repeatedly gone back to them and said, please stop putting rags down the sewer. Really, we're not kidding. Really, please stop doing that. No one fesses up. So we're going to, the plan is, Juan's proposal is to say, fine, we can't seem to do it any other way. We're going to pass last year's cost of what it cost us, our actual cost, to go out there and de-rag. You can imagine how fun that is. De-ragging the pump and then passing that on to them, and then maybe we'll get someone's attention.
It usually happens Friday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, when your guys are
Brutal.
I'm throwing this out there. You don't have to make any decision on this. Right now, in our current fee structure, both for water and sewer, for your base rate, you get your house and an ADU. We know that ADUs are being pushed by the governor as a way to make affordable housing across the board. So the question is that equitable? I'm not gonna answer the question, I'm just posing it. Multifamily right now, you're currently being charged a half a base rate for a multifamily unit. Is that equitable? Should that be larger?
All regular.
Or at least 0.75. Most cities and stuff are 0.75, 0.8, up to 1. An ADU, 1. And then institutional care centers, they're being currently charged a quarter of a base rate. Should that change? And that's that third option I kind of hid from view, but if we were to play with those numbers, that drops it another couple of dollars. So I'm not proposing we even looked at those really tonight. I'm just saying what's coming.
That's next budget year.
What's coming for water and for sewer. And the reason we're not looking at it tonight is because we didn't want this discussion to go for 3 hours instead of an hour and a half.
And we didn't want to change the water rates that we just approved.
Yeah, Kristen was like, please don't do that.
Keep something the same. Could I ask you just a philosophical question about the capacity? You're paying for your ability to use it. If a 4-inch facility ends up using up to 4 inches, isn't there just a one-time cost for installing that? Or is there ongoing maintenance to ensure because I think
There's an impact.
the usage I see is if you use up to 4 inches worth of this, then you're gonna pay for up to 4 inches worth of this. So the argument of a monthly base rate that's higher, not connected to usage because it's larger, could you just fill in the blank there for me? Is it because the ongoing maintenance of that's more expensive, so we have to bank that
So
money?
the
Or
base rate, we've always tried to have that philosophy be, this covers our costs. Whether you turn on your tap even at all, there are costs to get the water there, upgrade the pipes, pumping, wherever it is. Whether you turn it on or not, there's a certain
Yeah.
fee that we have to pay.
right?
And then you divide it up based on how big those water lines are. Because it does impact them. Again, if you put in a 1/2-inch water line, it's not an option, but just because I'm never gonna use it. The bank average, example that they gave, boy, I want a big, just in case. Well, this is how it truly impacts us. Oh, I think I can get by on this very comfortably. And so it helps you, if you will, come up with a more realistic, rather, if one's good, I want 10.
This is a really dumbed down
Dumb's great.
example. Rec center family pass. It's gonna cost you $300 a year.
Yeah,
Well, the entire year, I'm the only one that went.
yeah,
But I have the ability to bring all 8 of my kids.
yeah,
But I never did it.
yeah,
But I still have to pay that $300 fee instead of the $100 fee to just let me in.
yeah, yeah.
Same kind of principle. We're paying for that potential to serve and not necessarily.
And then what does
actual
impact
use.
fee cover?
Impact fee is covering the cost of
Coming into the system.
providing the system improvements that are necessary. So upgrading pipes, upgrading sewer treatment plants, upgrading,
Water storage.
yeah, tanks, having the manpower that then serves that as operations and maintenance. And so it would be the increased capacity that is due to the system because of your impact.
Yeah,
Certainly, no system is probably perfect.
sure.
But that's why we have consultants that do this all of the time. Why we have engineers, that there are standards that you use, the equivalent, how you reflect that back. It's not arbitrary. It is very detailed, but is it to the penny? We couldn't afford to pay for that type of
Yeah.
analysis.
Right.
But I appreciate everyone's willingness to discuss, and I appreciate everyone being patient with me. I do want to be a devil's advocate on some of these things. Whatever we as a council decide to vote, I'm going to vote yes. Right? I'm not going to stand out separate from the council because this is a difficult thing, and I trust everybody and everyone. To Adam's simplified pass at the rec center. But what we are doing is saying, you bought the family pass for $100 and you have spent that 100, but now we're gonna charge you 400 and you don't get a choice.
Yeah.
And it's on automatic renewal.
And it's an automatic renewal.
That's why the pool and sewer's a little different.
Lights on, I mean, in the rec center, you know what I mean?
Yes,
That
yes,
money's going
yes.
towards a project
Yes.
improvement.
Yes.
It's not that you don't get anything.
Absolutely. And we're talking North Point, which is just gonna pass it to everyone up north. And we're talking the temple that's gonna, I don't know. We're talking Mark Weldon's businesses, we're talking half a dozen of these other businesses that are experiencing a little bit more,
Be painful.
yeah.
And that's the thing, is to give the residents a $3 decrease and then pass that a higher burden, on that top end. I mean, right now on that matter, I think what we're talking about is if we want to take more time on that issue, it's not going to hurt. The revenue's pretty neutral on the base rate issue. It's just a matter if we redistribute the base rate cost. So if you want more time on that, or you feel good about it, make a motion to do all of it, or continue that part of it. But I think
Well, I will
Yeah.
tell you, I came prepared to propose that we do the recommended by the city rates. Is it fun? No. I've already been talking to a couple of residents, letting them know it's coming, practicing how to articulate what that is going to be. And that is something I would encourage me and all of us to be prepared to do. That's why I made that comment. Go back and read those minutes as Reed Price talked about things. We need to know that.
I chatted with my brother, he's up at South Davis Water District. He went from $10 a month to $30 a month. His comment was, that's pretty good ROI for that sewer just going away. Everyone's gonna be different.
And I guess my point is, the sewer upgrade fee, we have to take care of that, I agree. The base rate issue, though, where we just kind of play with those numbers, the top top ones pay more, these guys pay a little less. We're not gonna lose any money if we take a little more time to figure that out, because if we anticipate, okay, now we gave everybody on the bottom end 1-inch pipes a discount, and we did this 30 times or 20 times or 10 times to the top 10 users, and then they're gonna all come in and ask for a waiver. Now we've lost revenue because of, maybe we did something too extreme. Do we wanna take more time on that? Because it's not gonna change the revenue in the meantime if we wanna weigh that a little more, or get more data, or look at, I don't know. That's just what I'm putting out there, but you guys decide.
I love the input from everybody. Again, this is a hard, miserable, absolutely necessary thing to do. Yes, to the mayor's point, we can go one way or the other on this, and we prided ourselves on being pro-business and helping them, and this does impact businesses. It impacts everybody in our community. But I'm still gonna go with the recommendation. If I was pulled up, I would make the proposal.
Can I ask one more question before you do, Van? And I agree, want to get there. That's where I want to be too. I'm ready. No, did I see a number? The sewer treatment facility upgrade fee is to produce between $1 million and $1.2 million? Is that the revenue goal that we have for the
All I did was
STFU?
take the $28.40 and multiplied it by the number of sewer connections to come up with that $1.2 million number.
Yeah.
And then I used that number to then back calculate the
$1
other.
million to or $1 million?
So $1 million for the sewer treatment. I'll show you what I did and you can.
That's the new fee.
And maybe this is, I think I'm answering the question that Jake's asking.
Yeah, the revenue goal was between $1 million and $1 million.
So
Oh, there
I'm
it is,
looking at
$1.2
this
million.
number here, and all I did, that is, that $28.40 current fee multiplied by the number of connections we have to come up with the baseline, and then I use that number divided by this number to come up with this number. So Kristen, you could tell me, is that, okay.
And is that the right number? $1.2 million is what we need to be collecting to feel good about what we're needing to pay to Orem?
Again,
No.
no, this is not for Orem, this is the base rate, so the treatment
to
fee
maintain
is
our
$1 million
systems.
bucks.
There it is. Okay, the treatment
Million,
fee's $1 million.
right.
That's what I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my question to council as devil's advocate is we need to come up with $1 million by charging every household a sewer treatment facility upgrade fee. I know we don't like ever subsidizing enterprise funds. We have a $40 million budget. Is there any desire on council to subsidize this? I look at the budget I have been less conservative in the last few years because of where our revenues are, that I say yes to almost everything that comes down from anyone of our heads. Because I think, yeah, they're running. This is a hard pill to swallow for so many people. I mean, adding a $22 fee to your, or 19, it's hard to swallow. Are we comfortable with what we've done from a budget standpoint that we don't want to subsidize this at all to come up with $1 million another way? Mm-hmm. Is there something in Parks and Rec? Is there something in our $7 million police department budget? Is there? I guess I throw that out there because I want to be able to look people in the eye and say we had to charge this fee, and we are doing it as conservative as we can. And I know that this year we don't have as many, but repairs to the community center. I mean, man, we've done $500,000 in repairs to the community center in years past, and that could take half this burden from people. And I think, yeah, man, I don't want to spend a dime on the community center before charging a fee of this size, this caliber. And I understand, and keep in mind, enterprise funds should pay for themselves. The sewer should pay for itself. And so us subsidizing it isn't the ideal way to do it. And yet, we do have the funds. We do have a $40 million budget. We do have revenue sources.
Are you gonna do that every year for the next 20 years?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, and also our department budgets are pretty tight, but we do have money that we're transferring to facilities to save for property purchases.
Right.
We're transferring money to road fund.
Yeah.
So, is that where you want to be taking the money from?
Wants versus needs, right? Like, I would never take money from the roads, from most infrastructure. I think it's there. Are there wants to the tune that for 1 year it's only $10 instead of $20?
Step it, do it by step instead of one big hit.
Yeah, and I think it's hard because you say, well, where do you pull from? I think there's an easy way to do it. We pay this administrative fee from each of the enterprise funds to the general fund. If we just don't pay that, you know what I mean? But then it has to come from somewhere else. Where is that? What, you know?
Just something to keep in mind, the council's already done this 3 times, I think, where we've subsidized utilities and not raised rates.
Yeah.
And those rates that went unraised, we're now trying to catch up. And so it is kicking the can down the road if you do the subsidy.
I agree, it is. And unless,
You're making future residents pay more than current residents.
I don't know that that's true. With, you know, if we were to take away from our current budget $1 million and not charge this for 1 year, or if we were able to take 500,000, because the goal is to produce $1 million in revenue. If we were to take 500,000 from a different spot and apply it here and only raise the rate by $10, and only implement the fee for $10, and thus offset it with that, I don't know that changes. It's a one-time expense. It doesn't offset the 20 that it needs to be next year, because it needs to be 20. But it does save the residents this year and steps into it. It's tough because we're against time. You know what I mean? This is a hard one. I am not looking forward to talking to my friends and neighbors about this. And I just, do I feel like we've done a good enough job on the budget to say we are as lean and mean as we can possibly be, that we can't pull? I don't know that I can say that.
Since you're talking about the devil, in 3 years, this number goes up.
Yeah.
We go from 1 million to what was it, 1.3?
Phase 2, yeah.
1.3 or 1.4? 1.4. See, already I'm trying to, and then we're gonna deal with 3 and 4.
2 years.
And I love those are things we think so much alike.
And Kristen, it just spawned from that. You said that you were comfortable with capping the facility fee, but are we open to challenges to not capping other things? Like, is the methodology such that you'd mentioned they're different enough? I mean, is it defensible enough that we're capping one but not capping the other, the base? We're capping the facility or not potentially capping the base. Is that defensible?
Maybe I think a possible defense would be cap at 1 year, as kind of a transition.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And just say, yes, we recognize that that's not our normal procedure, but because we're implementing a new system of billing, then.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
All right, council, where do you want to go with this?
I'm finding the wordage.
You're finding what?
The verbiage, wordage.
Is it
Go up
up
to
one page?
the next page up. There's a sample resolution.
Page 129.
So we know Van is gonna make a motion.
I think it's equitable, fair, simple, doing it.
Do the whole. I would be comfortable making a motion for everything except the base rate changes tonight. If you
think we
want to
could take
stew,
time, yeah.
if you
So
want to
you're
think
gonna
about
put that
it.
on the residents now.
No, that doesn't change.
I think it does.
Oh, it's $3. It's what, $2, $3?
Well, it depends on
rebate.
what you're postponing the base. Are you postponing it until July and just doing the 3% on the 28th? Or are you postponing the base discussion until the next city council meeting? And then it's going to be distributed. And so then we're doing a rate change this month and a rate change next month. That's what, are you postponing it 1 month or are you postponing it until July?
Good point. Thoughts, Lincoln? I wasn't envisioning postponing it an entire year. I was envisioning that we get a little bit more grasp and data around that and process that
Know
one.
where Van
a little
is.
bit.
Thank you, Van. I love knowing where you are. And even more importantly than that, I love when I play pickleball with Van, because we win way more than when I play with other people.
Are you talking about me?
It was like, take that back.
You're out. I'm playing with Mike this year. Mike and I, we're playing this year.
This is tough. This is hard. This is.
Let me just ask, Cole, do you have any interest in pushing that piece to the next council?
Yeah, I mean, if it was like the next meeting and there were some of these sensitivity analyses, and I think what Jake pointed out, just another quick check to see if we don't have any monies that would be better to point towards this. A little bit more info, one meeting away.
You're pushing everything. You'd like.
Well, I'm okay with the facility fee. I like the idea of a 1-year cap, probably that feels more defensible.
That would be for the base.
Yeah, that's the base, you're saying.
That's what I was.
Aren't we capping the facility
We are
fee as well?
capping
That's
that
what I
at
was
2
wondering,
inch.
if
So that's
if
why
that's
I'm saying-
defensible to cap that, if we're capping one thing and not
I
capping
think there's a
both.
different kind of a fee. It's
Okay.
just going to Orem. It's not saying, hey, this is an impact on our city infrastructure.
Okay.
This is a fee going to Orem.
That's-
Maybe mention a potential route forward.
Yeah, sure.
So we aren't ready to adopt this whole bottom part with all the changes based on water meter size. Maybe, because I think I've heard this, maybe not encapsulated, but adopt the additional fee because we know that $1 million has to be paid. So adopt the additional fee as is with the 1998 and the structure as is. And then keep the rate of $28.40 plus the 3%, whatever that is, Kristen.
Depending on how much they are postponing it, because if it's 1 month, I wouldn't want to do a
saying-
3% increase and then change it again.
So the proposal might be
Okay.
to adopt this top part, the additional fee, and then take whatever 2840 is plus the 3% that was recommended originally by Juan, plus the 1%, which we've already got down here, and kick the can down to next July. Because essentially the dollars, you're basically,
Not changing your revenues.
you're not changing the revenue, and you're just waiting to get more data and what that cost of service analysis and all of the other fun stuff that's gonna
Exactly.
trickle down through the water potentially as well, how we structure things.
And my fear is if
Till
you do
next
this
July.
astronomical increase to these businesses and other government entities, they're gonna come in here, march in, ask for a waiver, now we've lost that revenue. We offset it from one place, lumped it on them, and then now they come and we give them a waiver, now that revenue's gone. We can't spread the love again. So I think we should come up with numbers that are reasonable and rational for those entities and make sure we feel right about it and it's.
I guess I mean, I don't know that I'm approving a waiver, even for North Point. Sorry, Lincoln. I'm a no
I
if they
would be
came in.
no to them.
I'm a no. I'm a no to North Point and definitely the school district as well. We spread that cost across every taxpayer within the district in that
Okay, but
scenario.
you're talking going from $300 or $350 a year to $10,000 a year.
Yeah, that's tough.
Are you,
It's a good point.
Let's just, you're going from 350 to 10,000, right? On an entity that's dealing with 20 million, right? And at 20 million annual budget, this little piece you went from 300 to this piece of 10,000. I just want to keep it in perspective. We're talking Alpine School District, we're
Yeah.
talking North Point, we're talking.
which then just
Few
raises all of
businesses.
our trash bills.
Correct.
And everyone, so.
Correct.
The discount that we thought we were giving residents really just, it's a wash. So I don't know.
So I
playing
hear
with that.
exactly what you're saying, and I've been on the same page with you, but I'm also saying, is it really a wash? Because that is gonna be distributed at North Point across
everywhere. At Timpanogos,
Look at our-
at Timpanogos School District, it's gonna be hitting Orem too.
Okay, let's take them off the table, because that's the extreme, and they're singular. I'm just looking at our 3-inch users.
Okay, can we see?
They're
the
going
thing
from
if you-
350 a year to 3,250 a year.
Scroll up. So Rocky Mountain, Weldon, the Temple, Go House, Awardco,
Yeah,
those 5.
yeah,
Four
it's really,
entities.
it's Mark Weldon's businesses.
But he has many 2-inch.
Right, some of Mark Weldon's businesses.
Yeah, and then the 2 inches will be a pretty, the 2 inches are going up, from the 300 to like 1,600 a year. So there's a lot of 2-inch
It's a
users, a lot.
Right, real amounts that have to be paid. Residents are getting hit with a lot. And you're saying you want residents to supplement, at least in this, some of the
Well,
businesses.
Residents, this is suggesting giving them a little tiny discount from what everyone's been paying already.
It's already been not equitable for many years, and we're recognizing that and trying to change it.
There's different philosophies.
Yes,
behind it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
it is. I like red, you like pink, it's.
Yeah, but, we've always wanted to be business friendly. Do you have a user come in and say, oh, really? And probably not. Costco's not gonna say, what's your fee and base fee for a 3? I don't know, it's hard.
Walmart's a 2-inch? So they go from 2840,
A month.
oh, this is yearly.
Yeah,
No.
I added yearly, so annuals, right, that one, that's current annual.
So they go from 340 to,
3,000. Something. So it's,
no fun.
So somebody wanting to, if you will, propose option 1, I'm ready to propose option 2.
One,
The,
it's the same.
no, the higher rate to the residents, and it's just a per connection fee.
The option on option 2, so we know exactly what he's talking about.
Option 1 written down, what it would be,
It's the 2 charts side by side.
Okay, let's see, you're talking about, yeah. Or are you talking about our current?
You hit option 3 because you didn't want us
This?
to.
No.
No.
On your spreadsheet where you hid the columns?
You hit option 3
I
column?
got you,
Is that what you're?
No, there's a yellow and there's a green,
Yeah.
and it's yellow.
Yeah.
There it is.
Right there.
Sewer treatment fee,
So right now, this particular portion only talks about the sewer treatment fee, the new fee. I believe we have to take action tonight, and I think we can look at option A or option B.
So I agree with you. This is a slam dunk for me, no problem. The only question that I have was.
Where are you at on base?
Was anyone interested in continuing base? Not everything else that was talked about by Jake, just that base for 2 weeks. When do we meet again? Is it a month or 2 weeks?
September 8th.
September 8th.
2.5 weeks. 3 weeks.
I
Van, where are
know,
you at?
Van, you don't want to continue that small piece.
You're comfortable with the STFU and the base?
STFU.
That-
like a wrestler's name.
Jake just had to do it. He just had to do it.
I like it. It feels kind of right.
And I
after
caught
what
that
we're
too,
having to do.
and I felt it had to sit there for a second for everybody to.
That was from Bishop Hoyt.
Seriously.
The height these, yeah.
Or propose base rate without.
The other option would be this plus 3%. Right? Which that equals.
29.25.
But if Van's proposing all of what you've proposed, we're B, as you said, Van, it would be the 2457, right?
Yep. Plus the 3%.
Plus
So really
3%, so
25, 30.
25. And Van, if you propose that, you've got my vote. You know, not that I don't stand by what I said. I would love for us to find a way, but these are enterprise funds.
I agree with everybody and everybody's
be, and-
comments here. They are valid, tough. Okay, so now if you went back to the proposed verbiage, and I'm going to, when I say proposed, proposal B, what's been recommended, that's what I'm referring to.
That would be the ordinance as written. Thank you.
Page 129, right?
Yeah, back up
129 is the motion, but if I'm understanding what you're saying, Van, it is this
This whole page.
whole page,
Yeah, it's originally presented.
as originally presented.
He needs the wording.
Right. I'm just making sure we're getting, that's option.
The 2-inch.
We're all on the same page, I think is what Noah's wanting to do, is make sure this is supporting that.
I move to approve Resolution 2026-25-R as presented.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? See no second, the motion fails. Do we have another motion?
Can we have a
Do we
minute?
want a little longer
Can I
there?
just have a minute longer? Mayor, sorry.
Oh, my apologies. I thought you were ready to say yes, so.
No,
you were-
I know.
Okay.
And I feel like I've set myself in a position, and I appreciate and respect everybody's willingness, but
All right.
let's just, can we go back to a motion has been
Okay.
made by them?
Oh,
Oh, yes.
I'll make that motion. I motion to close the public hearing. So I'm a participant. I'm not scared.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember
I
Boyd,
second it.
seconded by Councilmember Broderick to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That's an easy aye. All right. So that first motion was not valid because we had to close the public hearing. So now let's do a proper motion. Thank you. Thank you for that point of order correction. I appreciate that. All right.
I will make the same motion. And I'd have to have the verbiage. I move to approve Resolution 2026-25-R as presented.
I struggle a great deal with that base rate increase. I wish there were some better options, but the cost of those better options, really, I'm not seeing any other way than that coming from the residents in a subsidization. So while it's not something that I have comfort in taking, I will second Dan's motion.
And to the point, I don't love doing this.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Broderick, seconded by Councilman Jacobs. Any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, so I just, on the back end, on the spreadsheets that you've done in the various scenarios that you've looked at, did you look at by usage? Did you look at tiers? Or would that be additional analyses that you would need to do?
That would be additional analyses.
Oh, we're discussing this in a year.
Well, it won't even be a year, right? I mean, you'll start, it feels like the budget for next year starts like next week, so.
February. Give me a little time.
Let a woman breathe.
Let me close last fiscal year first.
I don't know, that'd be nice, but.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'll say yay.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, everybody. All right, let's keep things moving along here. Now we have item number 12, review and action on the well house construction. I will keep our public works director up here.
Are we gonna provide water to go into our system to charge this?
That's right.
So this item tonight, the well number 5 construction, Public Works has actually went through a competitive bidding process, bid out the well house construction. So that includes the structure itself. This is a site plan that's been included in your packet. There's some sample elevations of this building. The biggest cost is actually all of the mechanical and piping and everything that's inside of that. And all of the work that goes together to put this, get this well house completed. So we've included there, this was the scoring matrix and the bid totals that came in for the different companies. Corio Construction had the low bid and also scored the highest on the matrix, and so we're glad that that matched. So what's being recommended is awarding the well house construction to Corio Construction in the amount of $2,147,230. And this is subject to the city obtaining acceptable financing through a water infrastructure bond. We've reached out to LRB Financial Consultants and given them the information that the well house costs, and then in addition to the well house, there's about $865,000 estimated for upsizing of water utility main lines between Locust Avenue and 200 East. And so this is a high producing well, which is fantastic. It's going to pump a lot of water into the system, and the current pipe sizes aren't big enough to handle the water that's going to come into it. So we would be bonding for, what is that, just over $3 million, I think is what we asked. It takes about 90 days for us to go through the bonding process. We have to reach out to creditors and revisit our credit rating, and they score us. And then based on our score, we would get a certain interest rate. The last time we did this, it's probably been 15 years ago, we had an AA minus rating. And so we'll see if we can match or do better on that rating. But again, about 90 days, we have to go through several public hearing hoops and take public comment on the bonds. And then Juan has incorporated that total $3 million cost into his water calculations that you've kind of seen bits and parts of tonight, as far as that was on the sewer side, but similar matrix that he has for water funds.
Actually, the numbers that we actually have in the budget with the numbers we got from previous engineer's estimate, we were at $4.5 million. That's what's in our budget, but these numbers came in so much better, so we can adjust that.
Sweet, we can use the extra million over in the sewer treatment. Gotcha.
Well, that's something that we just don't have to go borrow the $4.5 million. We only have to borrow 3.15.
Less money going out than in. Okay. Any other questions, Council?
Looking at the bid numbers, love the numbers on it. It's tight bidding. Lots of good contractors in there.
You chose Corio. I heard you say that they were somebody that you had at the top of your list in reliability. Just based on the numbers, or?
No, based on previous call-out references, our consulting engineers actually worked with them in the past, and they helped us also make the decision on who has the experience, who has mostly experience and knowledge of what they're doing.
That's awesome.
Sounds great. All right, anyone ready to make a motion?
I will, because I love this type of thing. And when Adam makes the comment that it's based on us getting financing, that's part of as presented in my mind, so.
Okay.
I move to approve awarding the bid for well house construction for well number 5 to Corio Construction as presented.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilman Broderick, seconded by Councilman Jacobs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. All right, now we're going to move on. Thank you so much, Juan. Let's move on to item 13. This is a review and action on the employee policy manual.
So, as you're aware, we periodically update our Lindon City Policies and Procedures Manual. This is a lengthy document that outlines all kinds of different processes that we go through to administer our day-to-day work processes, our benefits, our just various different things. So a few of these I want to highlight, some more significant changes. I've given you most of these strikeouts. Several of them we've talked about already. So this is a driver qualification program that our insurance carrier, the Utah Local Governments Trust, recommended we adopt. That we actually have a standard where somebody, if they have a ticket or something else pop up on their license, that we have a way to determine if we let them keep driving city vehicles or not. Going on to page 177, we talk about just some simple things about vehicle driver safety and making sure that we're putting warning cones around things that may protrude or stick out. Moving on.
That's experience.
Yes, we're trying to learn from experiences. Vehicle dash cameras. This is a new policy. We have installed dash cameras in we're probably 3/4 of the way through our truck fleet. And I actually got hit by somebody in a city truck, and I had a dash cam in my vehicle, and we sent that footage to the insurance company, and as soon as they saw it, they were like, yeah, we're paying for this. And so they didn't argue or fight anything. We feel like this protects the city from a liability standpoint by having that video evidence, but it also puts the employees, I think it makes them more attentive. The cameras themselves have a front, a cab view, and a rear view, and so they're being recorded as they drive, and so if there is an incident, we'll know if they were texting or not paying attention in some other way. So I think that helps improve our driver safety. So some other things here. Let's see, we've got a return to work policy. Again, this was something recommended by our Utah Local Governments Trust, making sure that if we have worker comps injuries, that we have a process to get people back to work. Jumping forward, we've got some more language on authorized use of vehicles and who can use them, when, and where. We do have a take-home vehicle policy for certain positions, and it has some language about some of those uses and what they can do and what they are prohibited from doing.
On that one, if I could just insert a quick question, not that it
Yes.
needs to be answered now, because I doubt there's the data for it, but something that would be interesting to me. That policy, I think, is great. I mean, it serves for the emergency functions, like, Juan has to go out and respond to a broken pipe, or police have to, so it makes a lot of sense just utility-wise. It also seems like a retention benefit,
It
for
is.
some department head, which is also, we need to retain people. If it is like a partially a retention thing, it might, for me, I think of it like as a raise or some other quantifiable way of saying this is how we're contributing to your overall package in a way. So I just don't know if it's quantifiable in any way. It's the gas card, you're not going to know if it's an emergency or
Right.
not. So I don't know if it is, but if there is a piece of this that is like a retention, I just wonder if there's a way that we could quantify it so we could say, hey, this is how much we're putting towards this benefit. Didn't think that would be immediately possible, but just putting it out there for you to think on.
We can look at that. So, let's see, moving on, I do want to, there's a few sections in our purchase policy. I'm jumping down to page 192. So these are some recommended changes with who's authorized to approve purchases at certain dollar amounts. The way some of this read before, it just said city council, and what we've done in practice is had the mayor actually approve purchase orders over a certain dollar amount, instead of those coming to the whole city council in a meeting. And so a lot of this is updating that, so it's the mayor or a city council member if the mayor's not available. So we would go to whoever the mayor pro tem is. So that is the majority of that change. And then for most significant purchases, and by significant, I'm saying over $3,500 is in this. There's multiple levels of approval, and so, for instance, anything from 3,500 to 10,000, the person that's authorized to make the purchase, and then you have to have a sign off by a department head and the finance director or the city administrator. So there's 2 or 3 levels on pretty much every purchase over $3,500, and so.
And I think as a clarification too, pretty much everything I signed was something that, was already something council approved.
Right, we're spending money that's been approved in the budget already.
In the budget,
so-
or like tonight, this vendor who's doing the well house, maybe I'll sign the final authorizing check. But you guys approved it tonight, so there's nothing that I get that you haven't had eyes on and approved within their department budget or a special line item.
Thank you.
Does the line, the box,
Are you back?
mayor or council member need to call out if the mayor's not available that it's a council member? Or is that fine?
That would be assumed, Lincoln,
I mean,
but.
we have the whole pro tem assignments, and that's how it's usually been handled in the past.
I am jumping forward here. We had some clarifications on our meal and per diem issues, just some clarifications. It's nothing substantially new there. And then training and testing, this is a newer policy that we implemented just in-house, and so we're codifying it, that the city will pay for specific licensing or testing that's required for a position or job. This would be things like a building inspector is required to take an exam to get their mechanical certification or their commercial license on some type of inspection. So the city will pay for that exam or test up to a certain amount. If they don't pass it, then they would be required to pay it themselves beyond that. Other things, Public Works has certifications this would be applicable to. We've got a handful of other departments. There may be similar tests or certifications that are required as part of their job. Let's see. Some other more significant things. We added a section about protecting children from abuse, and frankly, most of this wording is very similar to a local church that we participate in. And so we wanted to make sure this is in here. Steve recommended that we have something with his education background, so I appreciate that. We had some policies that are on application forms at the community center, but we didn't have anything in our city policy, so I appreciate his input there. Let's see, we're close to the end here. Our emergency manager, Todd Christensen, recommended there's some small additions about employee emergency preparedness, some recommendations about having certain things at our desks, some cash, water, change of clothes, some food that'll get us through 2 or 3 days. So we'll work on some city activities where we can help basically have an employee that has a 72-hour kit kind of thing at their desk. And that may seem like a long time. Unfortunately, I've had experiences where I've been at the city for close to 40 hours straight, and it happens. And so we've had some catastrophic things go on. But let's see, a lot of this remaining is just clean up on some language, making sure that our policy matches our practices and vice versa. Anything else jump out at you? That was it, going to page 215. So. If not, this is adopted by resolution, so we would just need a motion to approve the resolution, which is right there.
Can I ask a question? This is a lot of information and things like cameras and this and that and the other. Employees need to be aware of these things. What are the procedures in helping employees be trained or understand these kinds of?
Yeah, good question. So when we do these updates, we send out then citywide to all the employees, get emailed a summary of the updates with a link to the new policies and procedures manual. So we'll basically attach something that shows most of these red lines and strikeouts with all of the changes and send that to all the employees. And then we post it on our city website. So this document is public. And so it's a link that they can download. And then we have periodic trainings from our department heads. They'll go through policy or safety trainings and review some of those changes. And then annually, we require that employees sign a certification that they've reviewed the policy manual and they're responsible to know what's in it. So.
All right. This was very thorough, very great review.
Mayor, I'd like to
Yes,
move
please.
to approve Resolution 2026-22-R as presented.
Second.
By Councilmember Hoyt, seconded by Councilmember Broderick. We'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you. All right, item number 14, now we have a specific employee, couple positions that we need to consider for some retention.
Yes, so we have two positions. One was the recreation superintendent, so I'll start with this one. This is Alan Walker's position. Alan applied for a position with Springville City recently and received an offer for employment from Springville to become the Clyde Recreation Center superintendent. So he basically would manage their rec center. And Alan met with Heath and I and spent a day or two reviewing this offer and evaluating different things with the city. And I think his heart is here with Lindon, and he chose to turn down Springville's offer. As part of his meeting with Heath and I, we discussed the wage that he was offered with Springville and the position that he has. And he had a list of items that he would hope to accomplish here in Lindon, and I think most of those are doable. With the pay scale within our policies and procedures manual we just approved, it says the city administrator can move people within the same pay range, but to go to a different pay range, the city council has to approve that. So what we're proposing and what we had committed to at least bring this up with you, with Alan. And so we are recommending that we change Alan's title to Recreation Manager. Attached to your staff report is an updated, just a couple pages down, is an updated job description for the Recreation Manager. He assumes a little bit more responsibility, but not significantly beyond what he's currently doing. We ran some comps with our comps study program software that we have, and a recreation manager would be in range 22. We feel good about recommending Alan's wage go up to range 22, step 4, which is a little bit above what Springville offered him and gives him plenty of headroom as he continues to grow here with Lindon. So that's the first recommendation, and then the second is our Blue Stakes technician / SWIP inspector. This is the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Program inspector. Kyle Jensen is the current employee in this position. We found that this position does a lot of public works inspections, the same as our public works inspector, which is Zach. And then also Kyle's taken on the duties of mapping all of our utility systems in GIS and has assumed some significant duties there. Juan and I have discussed this. We feel that position has really grown to be essentially a second public works inspector. And those are actually 2 steps apart from each other on the pay range. And so we would recommend moving this Blue Stakes and inspector position to range 17. And this is just a small financial difference. This is the next step closest without going less. And so not a huge pay increase, but significantly more overhead as he continues to stay here with Lindon. So.
And both of these have my 110% full support. Alan is a one-of-a-kind employee. We cannot lose him. He would leave a huge hole that really no shoes would fill what he does, and his heart and his way, So grateful he was willing to reconsider, and you sat down with him and made this offer to him. And also, inspectors are very challenging to attract and retain. So I'm glad to see that we can provide a upward mobility for both of these individuals. So.
Yeah, I feel like Alan, we get to see a lot. I guess Kyle, I don't know as well, but I'm absolutely in favor of us keeping the right people, and so I look to you, Juan, and you, Adam. This is the right person on the bus. This is someone we want to keep. Yes, absolutely. No questions.
Speak for Kyle, I'm his direct supervisor.
Oh, even better.
So, yeah, Kyle looked at and was offered actually the building inspector job, but he was really doing some great things and wanted to keep the momentum going with our GIS and mapping and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was really fearful that he would take that other position simply to be able to get basically some different pay range or some more headroom. So I'm grateful that he, kind of like Alan, decided to stick around, but as I had his yearly evaluation, we talked about this, he's taken on significant additional, responsibilities and is doing some great things there. So I really, like the mayor, really support this. You probably don't see him as much, although what he does is kind of more behind the scenes. He's not as in your face maybe, definitely by personality, he's not Alan.
And job function too. I mean, we just,
You just don't get to see him as often, but I would wholeheartedly recommend this.
that's helpful.
And I was sad he didn't want that building inspector.
He's a great asset to us.
Great.
I happy to, if there's no other
Yes, please.
comments, happy to, just pulling it up on my thing here. Okay. I move to approve the pay range adjustments for specific positions as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hooley, seconded by Councilmember Jacobs. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, we'll have the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous, and please
Thank you
give
for your
them
support on
the acknowledgement of appreciation from all of the council.
Thank you.
They're sticking with us. Okay, we are now on our last item for the evening. On the agenda, item number 15, we will now go into a closed session, and I would entertain a motion to do the roll call for that.
I move to enter a closed session to discuss potential purchase or sale of real property.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Jacobs, seconded by Councilmember Hoyt, and we'll do the roll call, starting with Councilmember Jacobs.
Aye.
Jake Hoyt, aye.
Present.
Lincoln Jacobs, aye.
Name,
Jake
give your name.
Hoyt, present.
Yeah, or Carolyn Lundberg, aye.
Van Broderick, aye. I'm making I'm
Yeah.
voting for the motion.
I'm aye and present.
Cole Hooley, aye.
All right.